Principle of Pleasure. By Ashenifi. EXT Miami Airport, Parking Lot, Day. We are at Miami Airport parking lot. A gorgeous girl Scarlett Hewitt, 26, and a good-looking man Justin Moore, 33, stand lips to lips talking between soft kisses. In the background, we see airplanes flying in the air. Scarlett is about to fly to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and do her master on the art of samba. Scarlett, I am going to dream about you. Justin, how am I going to live without you? They kiss and part their lips. Justin, I still think it's not a good idea. You should never go alone. Rio is a big city. Scarlett, it's okay. I'll find my way around. They exchange soft kisses. Justin, it is not the most convenient thing to do for a girl like you to walk around in the jungle and write her thesis on samba and sexuality. What if they abduct you? Scarlett, you gonna come and rescue me? They kiss. On the soundtrack, Bellini's Samba de Janeiro plays melodiously. EXT airplane, flying, day. An established shot of an airplane flying in the sky. Montage, Rio de Janeiro. We see key parts of Rio de Janeiro, the statue of Christ the Redeemer, Sugarloaf Mountain, carnival in the street of Rio, a soccer match between CR Vasco da Gama and Flamengo at the Maracanã Stadium, beautiful people walking in the Copacabana beaches in swimsuit and bikini, Barra de Tijuca Beach, riveting aerial view of Botafogo, people swimming and surfing at the Ipanema Beach, kids playing soccer on the street, a group of martial artists doing capoeira in the beach, a group of samba student dancing samba on the street and the crowd standing and watching, etc. Principle of Pleasure. Int. Rio Airport, Day. We see a sexy American girl named Violet Fox, 25, standing at the waiting area of Rio Airport with a cute dog, Yorkshire Terrier, named Duke while talking on her cell phone. Violet, on the phone I'm standing at the terminal with Duke. Where are you? Scarlett comes up to the airport terminal, pulling her bag and talking on her cell phone. Scarlett, I'm walking toward the exit. Violet sees her. Violet, I am looking at you. Violet waves her hand. Scarlett sees her, beams in a gorgeous smile, hangs up her cell phone, and walks up to Violet, pulling her bag. Violet approaches Scarlett. Violet, what's up? Scarlett, nothing much. They hug and kiss on the cheeks. Violet, you look sexy. Scarlett, thanks. You look amazing yourself. Violet, welcome to Rio. Come on. I parked my car at the entrance. They'll tow it away if I wait another second. They begin to walk toward the direction of the camera. On the soundtrack, samba music plays melodiously. EXT/int. Violet's Jeep, moving, day. Violet is behind the wheel. Scarlett sits in the passenger seat. They are driving in the street of Rio. Scarlett looks at the buildings, skyscrapers and the ghetto side by side. And the people, some are dancing samba, others are just walking by. We see kids playing soccer on the street. EXT Violet and Antonio's house, day. It's an exclusive villa right next to the beach. It has a water fountain, a swimming pool, a tennis court, a mesmerizing garden, and others. Violet's Jeep. Violet and Scarlett come driving, pass through the gate, and park the car in front of the house. Scarlett looks at the house and gets taken by its appearance. Scarlett, it's a marvelous house. Violet, we're thinking about selling it and moving to Montevideo, Uruguay. They said the city has the highest quality of life in Latin America. They get off the car. Violet, but I doubt it. There is nothing more spellbinding than Rio. We are going to hang around for a while. Scarlett holds her bag and tries to bring it down from the car. Out of nowhere comes a young man named Roberto. Violet, leave the bag. Roberto will take it. To Roberto in Portuguese. Take her bag to the guest room. Roberto nods, okay. Roberto, to Scarlett, in Portuguese I got it. Roberto tries to take the bag from Scarlett's hand. Scarlett, in Portuguese it's okay. I'll take it. Violet, let him take it. He knows where your room is at. Roberto carries the bag. Scarlett, in Portuguese thanks. Roberto begins to take it to the house, climbing the staircase. Scarlett and Violet walk toward the house by long porch and pathway. Scarlett, you didn't really have to make him carry the bag. I could have taken it myself. Violet, trust me you don't want to carry it around the stairs. It's a cathedral. There is no elevator. Scarlett, it's a breathtaking villa. Violet, sardonically it's not Buckingham Palace. Scarlett, it's one of the most beautiful houses I have ever seen. Violet, anyway, I didn't know you could speak Portuguese fluent. Scarlett, I don't really speak Portuguese. I just know few words that sound close to French. Violet, if you can speak French, it won't take you a week to learn Portuguese. But they said French is spoken to inspire romance, whereas Portuguese is a language designed to give sexual love a new denotation, authenticity, reputation, and imagination. Scarlett smiles softly. EXT Violet and Antonio's house, sculpture room, day. We see amazing sculptures sculpted by Antonio, 37. They make Michelangelo's works mediocre. Antonio is working on a sculpture, a naked angel with wings. Violet and Scarlett come to the sculpture room. Antonio looks at them as they approach him. Violet, I want you to meet my best friend Scarlett. Antonio stops what he is doing, and walks toward them. Violet, To Scarlett, this is Antonio Silva, my fiancé. Antonio, hi. Antonio gives her his hand to shake. Scarlett takes his hand. Scarlett, hi. They kiss on the cheeks. Scarlett, pleased to meet you. Antonio, the pleasure is mine. Violet, she'll be staying with us this summer. She's doing her master on samba. Antonio, that's wonderful. Welcome to Rio, city of eternal summer. Scarlett, thanks. On the soundtrack, music plays melodiously. They continue to talk without a sound as we pull out with overhead shot. Montage. Scarlett and Violet visit interesting parts of Rio. They visit National Museum of Fine Arts. They take a walk at Santa Teresa neighborhood. They shop at a mall. They hang out at Leblon Beach, walking down the shoreline, drinking Tropicana juice, etc. They get their hairs, nail manicures, and other beauty services at a salon. Int. Fabino Brandeo's villa, art party, night. It is a big palace. An art party is in progress. Attractive people stand with drinks, mingling. Scarlett, wearing a beautiful red gown, stands alone with a glass of champagne. On the soundtrack, samba music plays. Scarlett takes a sip, turns her eyes, and sees a charismatic man, Tristan Vincent, 34. He is in the middle of conversation with an enticing girl named Cassandra Sanchez, 22, a pop star. Close up, Tristan and Cassandra. Cassandra, I want you to come with me to Buenos Aires. Tristan, what's in Buenos Aires? Cassandra, my agent just booked me to do a concert for Victoria's Secret. A beat/off his look. It's a last-minute thing. Shakira had to drop out due to illness. They asked me to replace her. I already reserved a hotel at the Sheraton for both of us. Tristan, I don't know if I can make it. I have a very busy schedule ahead. Cassandra, I am also shooting a music video for that song that you like. I want to make love to you. I want you to be with me. Humorously, you are going to be in the music video. Tristan smiles softly. They exchange soft kisses. Tristan, I'll see what I can do, but I had a very important meeting with Mr. Alves, the Minister of Agriculture. I'm in the middle of getting my license reinstated. She gets closer to his lips. Cassandra, coquettishly, what's that supposed to mean? Tristan, it means if it's a matter of life and death, I'll tell my secretary to reschedule the meeting and do whatever you desire. Cassandra, humorously, it's a matter of life and death. Tristan, playing along, okay. I'll tell her to postpone it indefinitely. They exchange soft kisses. Cassandra, I have a present for you. Cassandra takes out a pocket watch from her breasts. Cassandra, happy birthday. Cassandra gives Tristan the watch. He looks at it. Tristan, what is it? Cassandra, it's a pocket watch. I got it from this antique shop in Sao Paulo. Tristan, my birthday is not coming for another 3 weeks, but thanks. They kiss and part their lips. Tristan takes a glance and catches Scarlett's eyes. Scarlett turns her eyes, and walks toward the bar. Tristan follows her with his eyes. Scarlett comes up to the bar. Scarlett, to the bartender in Portuguese, may I have a glass of red wine? The bartender nods, sure, grabs a bottle of red wine, pours the wine in the glass, and puts it in front of her. Scarlett takes the glass and looks at the direction of Tristan. Tristan gives her a soft smile. Scarlett smiles softly at him and turns away. Violet walks up to Scarlett with Fabino Brandeo, 37. Violet, this is Scarlett. I want you to meet Fabino. Fabino, como esta? Fabino gives her his hand to shake. Scarlett takes his hand, greeting. Scarlett, muito bem. Fabino, fala português? Scarlett, no. Now falo português, a little. Fabino, in Portuguese, you are the most luscious girl I have ever met. Fabino kisses her hand. Scarlett, in Portuguese, thanks. Violet, Fabino once did a nude portrait of me lying on the sofa. He wants to do it again. But I told him if he does my portrait, I won't go bed with him this time. I am engaged to Antonio. Fabino, I am the one who introduced her to him. We had threesome. But she chose him over me. She is a traitor. Violet, I chose Antonio, because you sleep with every woman that you paint. Fabino, well, that's not always true. I only sleep with those whom I found extremely beautiful. Sex is nothing but corporeal affinity and spiritual skirmish that we carry out in order to achieve climax. But some do it to relieve stress. Or perhaps reproduction. That can wait. You know, every now and then, we have to lose our souls in the art of sexual intercourse, give and receive love that can only be expressed in physical contact and carnal knowledge, even take advantage of spiritual unity that keeps the flow of energy among living things and flowers during sexual intercourse, boosts the vim in every inch of our cells, sweetens the rhythm of our hearts, and kindles the heat in our breaths, the same force that maintains the tide of vitality throughout the universe. Reach the utmost orgasm, of which the mind, the body, and the quintessence are capable of achieving and surpassing. Obtain pure sexual pleasure in art of coitus and lovemaking as much as possible, and attain erotic enlightenment while we are still alive. Otherwise death will come knocking our doors and take us away before we realize the purpose of our lives in this wonderful world. To Scarlett, am I wrong? Scarlett smiles sweetly. Scarlett, not at all. Violet, it's well said, but that doesn't give you the right to screw around. On the soundtrack, music plays. Scarlett turns her eyes and looks over at Tristan, who is dancing with Cassandra on the dance floor. Pan 2, Tristan and Cassandra. They continue to dance slow. Tristan steals a look at Scarlett. Scarlett gives him a soft seductive smile and turns her attention back to Fabino and Violet as they continue to talk without a sound. Int. Fabino Brandeau's villa, art party, later. Scarlett looks at the paintings on the wall, sensual portraits of nude girls, sexual and abstract paintings of men and women making love, lovers kissing, etc. Ext Fabino Brandeau's villa, art party, porch, night. Scarlett, holding the glass of wine, stands next to the light frame wall, looking at the ocean. She takes a sip. Out of nowhere comes Tristan and stands next to her. Scarlett looks at him. Tristan, hi. Scarlett, hi. Tristan, you're the American girl that everybody is talking about? Scarlett gives him an innocent but seductive look. Tristan, they say you are one of the most beautiful girls ever to visit Rio. 100% everything that's alluring, enchanting, and mesmerizing. Your sparkling eyes separate light from water, and ocean from salt. At the sight of your delicious lips, everything comes to a halt. You are possessed beauty without a drop of fault. Scarlett smiles in beauty. Scarlett, did you translate that from Portuguese to English, or it's another pickup line that you come up with to impress the opposite sex? Tristan, it's a little bit both. But I notice you have beautiful eyes that incandesce luminosities more precious than anything I have ever seen in heavens, radiant and scintillating, which the stars in the skies correspondingly takes for granted in the night, but thine are matchless like diamonds in candlelight. It's the reason that hearts and flowers in the Garden of Eden fall in love at first sight. Scarlett, thanks. That is a quite compliment. I have to give it to you. Tristan, I'm Tristan. Tristan gives her his hand to shake. Scarlett takes his hand, greeting. Scarlett, Scarlett. Tristan, what brings you to Rio? Scarlett, I am here for study. Tristan looks at her. What's it? Scarlett, off his look, I am doing my master on the art of samba and human sexuality. A beat, off his look. Not sexual intercourse. I mean I am writing thesis on samba, how samba is designed to lure the opposite sex into carnal temptation and eroticism. You know, how it's intended to bring a man and a woman into sexual intimacy in the subconscious mind, and brings out our most profound inner desire for the sake of procreation, mend, and pleasure. Tristan, that's compelling. Scarlett, I just thought it'd make an interesting topic. Tristan, I don't think it's going to get any better than that. There is silent moment. They gaze at each other's eyes softly as if their irises were holding the secret of their deepest desires and genuine longings, and their pupils were revealing mysteries of their inner cravings and darkest fantasies while dilating in the middle of their irises like 4,000 summers, 4,000 wishes, 4,000 nights, and 4,000 dreams. He then. Tristan, so, what are you planning to do with that? Scarlett, I don't know, maybe write a couple of books, or go around the world and do documentaries on human culture, how sexuality and dance shape society and influence the social order, ethos, way of life, and civilization for PBS and other major networks. Tristan, that sounds promising. Cassandra comes up to the porch. Tristan and Scarlett look at her. Cassandra, to Tristan, here you are. Cassandra walks up to Tristan. Cassandra, I was looking for you everywhere. Tristan and Cassandra kiss on the lips like lovers who can't keep their thoughts off each other. Tristan, to Cassandra, this is Scarlett. To Scarlett. Cassandra, my better half. Cassandra, hi. Cassandra gives Scarlett her hand to shake. Scarlett takes Cassandra's hand candidly, greeting. Scarlett, hi. Cassandra, you're the girl from America? Scarlett nods yes. Tristan, she is studying samba. Cassandra, that's wonderful. To Tristan. It is time. I am burning. We have to go now. I have a surprise for your birthday. Cassandra takes Tristan's arm and begins to pull him toward the entrance. Cassandra, to Scarlett, we will see you. Scarlett, night. Tristan, to Scarlett, pleased to meet you. Scarlett, the pleasure is mine. Tristan, bye. Scarlett, take care. Tristan and Cassandra walk toward the living room. Scarlett looks at him. Tristan turns his eyes and catches Scarlett's eyes as he enters the living room through the glass doors. Scarlett gives him a beautiful smile and waves her hand bye. Tristan waves his hand bye. Scarlett continues to look at him. She takes a sip from her wine, then turns around, and watch the stars in the skies. On the soundtrack, music plays softly. Int. Antonio and Violet's house, bathtub, night. /ext Justin's house, swimming pool, night. Scarlett lies in the bathtub, talking to Justin on her cell phone. She seems relaxed. There are a couple of candles around the edge of the bathtub. Justin's house. Justin walks up and down by his swimming pool, outside, at his multimillion-dollar house while talking to Scarlett. Note, we see both sides of the conversation. Justin, how was your day? Scarlett, it's all right. Justin, what did you do? Scarlett, I was with Violet. We went to shopping, visited a couple of interesting places, spent few hours at a salon. Then went to a party hosted by her close friend, an artist named Fabino. He is quite charming. Justin, did you have fun? Scarlett, it was okay. I met few fascinating people. Justin, who did you meet? Scarlett is caught in the web that she weaved without her knowledge. She doesn't know what to say, but comes to her sense naturally. Scarlett, I met a pop star named Cassandra. She was with her boyfriend. She asked him to take her home and make love to her in front of everybody. Justin, welcome to Brazil. French has nothing on them. Scarlett, that's what I figured. On the soundtrack, Kayama's Lambada plays melodiously. Scarlett and Justin continue to talk without a sound. Int. Samba school, day. It's a small samba school. There are about 20 students dancing and playing samba instruments. Surdo, agago bells, quexa, tambourine, gonza, chicolho, cuica, timba, pandero, and the birimba. Fernando, an instructor, is giving a samba lesson. At the entrance, Scarlett walks in with a translator named Ronaldo. She is carrying a camera. Fernando looks at her. He tells one of his students Ricardo to take over and approaches Scarlett. Scarlett and Fernando greet. Scarlett introduces Ronaldo to Fernando. She tells him her Portuguese is not as good as her French. They all smile politely while greeting. Fernando then tells his student to stop the music, and introduce Scarlett to his students one by one as we continue to hear Kayama's Lambada on the soundtrack. They resume the dancing. Scarlett photographs them. Montage. Note, we'll see Scarlett walking in the beach, shopping, looking at various artifacts, and others as we continue to hear Kayama's Lambada on the soundtrack. Scarlett takes a walk in the Copacabana beach through the crowd. Scarlett comes up to an antique store, takes a vase, looks at it, and puts the vase back. She then grabs painting of a young woman kept in a frame and asks the sales clerk the prices without a sound. The clerk tells her the price. Scarlett gazes at the painting with admiration and thinks about buying it but doesn't want to carry it. She puts it back. Scarlett walks to a sculpture store and looks at various types of sculptures. Scarlett comes to garments and fashion stand, takes a sun hat, and tries it on. She looks at her image in the mirror. She then puts the hat back where she got it, and tries another hat. Scarlett walks into an art store, looks at sensual ghetto paintings of exotic women and men making out in eroticism. Scarlett buys a sunglass outside and wears it. Scarlett is at a small bookstore. She takes a poetry book from the bookshelf, opens the book, and reads Touch by Octavio Paz. My hands. Open the curtain of your being. Clothe you in a farther nudity. Uncover the bodies of your body. My hands. Invent another body from your body. EXT beach, bar, day. Scarlett comes up to a bar where they serve soft drink and alcoholic beverage, sits on a stool. The bartender approaches her. The bartender, in Portuguese, how can I serve you? Scarlett, in Portuguese, may I have a Diet Coke? The bartender grabs a can of soda, Diet Coke, from the refrigerator, takes a glass, puts ice in the glass, pours the Coke in it, and places the Coke in front of her. The bartender, in Portuguese, 5 pesos. Scarlett takes out 20 pesos and gives him the money. Scarlett, keep the change. He takes the money. The bartender, thank you. Scarlett, you welcome. Scarlett grabs her drink, takes a sip, and places the glass back on the balcony. Then out of nowhere comes Tristan and stands next to her. Tristan, hi. Scarlett, what's up? Tristan, nothing much. To the bartender, in Portuguese. Give me a cranberry juice. The bartender turns and begins to make cranberry juice. Scarlett, what are you doing here? Tristan, business. A beat off her look. I'm opening a new coffee shop at the Copacabana beach. Scarlett, what does it call? Tristan, Rio Coffee. Scarlett, humorously, that sounds innovative. Tristan smiles softly. Tristan, it's a franchise. The bartender places Tristan's cranberry juice on the counter in front to Tristan. Bartender, in Portuguese, 10 pesos. Tristan gives him 100 pesos. Tristan, in Portuguese, keep the change. The bartender takes the money. Bartender, in Portuguese, thanks. Tristan takes a sip and puts the glass on the bar. Tristan, what are you planning to do the rest of the day? Scarlett, nothing. Tristan's cell phone rings. He takes out his cell phone from his pocket, answers the phone. Tristan listens to what the person, who calls at the other end, has to say for a few seconds while gazing at Scarlett's beautiful eyes. He then. Tristan, on the phone, okay. He hangs up. Scarlett, is that your girlfriend? Tristan, no. It's my secretary. My girlfriend is out of town. Scarlett, where did she go? Tristan, Buenos Aires. She just flew the other day to shoot a music video for the song that she did, I Want to Make Love to You. I was supposed to be with her, and appear in the music video. But something came at the last minute. Scarlett, what came at the last minute? Tristan, destiny. Off her look. Your thesis, Samba and Sexuality, and her song, I Want to Make Love to You. It can't be coincidence. I thought I might run into you and find out why sex is so important. She smiles softly. Scarlett, it's a catchy song. But that doesn't give you a reason to flirt with me. Tristan, flirtation is nothing but a brief good-natured interaction between man and woman who have something in common. But that isn't what I had in mind. Pause. He gazes at her eyes softly. Scarlett, so, what is it? Tristan, are you available tonight? Scarlett, softly, why is that? Tristan, I just made reservation. It's nothing big. But I would be delighted if you come and keep me company. Scarlett, are you asking me out a date? Tristan, humorously, only two people go out, get to know one another, and have the time of their lives. Scarlett, playing along, that's the definition of dating. Tristan, do you mind? Scarlett, no, I don't. Tristan, look at his chauffeur Wesley, who is standing by Tristan's limo. Tristan, Wesley will pick you up at 6 o'clock. He is my chauffeur. I have to go now. Pleasure talking to you. Tristan gives Scarlett his hand. She takes his hand. Scarlett, likewise. They kiss on the cheeks. Tristan, bye. Scarlett, bye. Tristan walks up to his limo parked at the beach. Wesley opens the door for Tristan. Tristan gets in the limo. Wesley walks around the car and gets behind the wheel. The limo drives away. Scarlett grabs her drink and has a sip. On the soundtrack, Teenage Dream by Katy Perry plays softly. EXT Violet and Antonio's villa, sunset. An established shot of Violet and Antonio's villa. Int. Violet and Antonio's house, bathroom, sunset. Scarlett lies in the bathtub, talking on her cell phone. We don't hear what she's saying due to Teenage Dream. She talks a little bit more while resting her head on the bathtub. Scarlett then gets up from the bathtub, revealing her exotic nude body, and exits the tub while talking on the phone. Scarlett says something and hangs up the phone. She then takes a towel from the hanger, puts it around her voluptuous body, and walks toward the direction of the camera. Int. Violet and Antonio's house, Scarlett's room, sunset. Scarlett comes up to her room singing with Katy Perry Teenage Dream and finds a white rose and a breathtaking red gown on her bed with a note. She takes the note and reads it. It reads: I'll be waiting for you at Venus Hotel and Resort. Wesley, my chauffeur, will pick you up. Tristan. EXT Violet and Antonio's villa, sunset. We see Tristan's limo parked at the courtyard. Wesley stands next to the limo waiting. He then takes out a cigarette, lights the cigarette, and smokes it, looking around the amazing garden, water fountain sculptures, etc. Int. Violet and Antonio's villa, Scarlett's room / int. Justin's convertible, moving, day. Scarlett is in her underwear talking to Justin on her cell phone. 2008 Mercedes-Benz CLK350 convertible. Justin is behind the wheel driving in the middle of nowhere. On the soundtrack, Katy Perry Teenage Dream continue to play softly. Note, we see both sides of the conversation. Scarlett, on the phone the other day, I ate a strawberry cake. My left nipple got sore. It was painful. Justin, on the phone, I am sorry to hear that. Scarlett, you should have seen me. I was so paranoid. You know, I thought I was developing early stage of breast cancer. Justin, that's insane. You are too young to develop any sort of cancer. Scarlett, I will go see a doctor. Listen to what they have to say. It could be a mosquito bite. You know, sometimes, I like sleeping nude. On the soundtrack, Katy Perry Teenage Dream plays with full volume. We stay with Scarlett. Scarlett talks a little bit, hangs up the phone, and throws it on the bed. Scarlett takes the gown from the bed, comes up to the mirror, and places the dress next to her astonishing body frame to see if it looks good. It looks great. Scarlett puts the gown on the bed, grabs a lotion from the mirror, sits on the bed, and applies the lotion on her legs. EXT Violet and Antonio's house, sunset. Wesley, who is smoking a cigarette, continues to wait for Scarlett to come out. Wesley then sees Scarlett, who is walking toward the limo off-screen. He throws his cigarette away and stands still as if he were looking at phenomenon. EXT Venus Hotel and Resort, night. It's one of those 4-star exclusive resorts next to the ocean, a beautiful private resort. The limo comes driving and pulls by the main entrances. Wesley gets out of the car, comes around the car, and opens the rear door. Scarlett steps out wearing the red gown. She looks like the most breathtaking living thing we've ever seen in our lives. Tristan, wearing a white tuxedo, appears at the entrance. Scarlett looks at him and beams with a beautiful smile. Tristan walks up to her. She comes up to him. Tristan, in Portuguese, good evening. Scarlett, in Portuguese, good evening. They kiss on the cheeks. Tristan, you look beautiful. Scarlett, thanks. Tristan, come in. Tristan gives her his arm. Scarlett takes his arm. They enter the building. EXT Resort, beach, night. Tristan brings Scarlett to an exclusive beach. We see a dinner table, 2 chairs, candles, a rose, and fire torches set up in seductive manner, as well as chiefs and private cooks who are preparing foods live. We see a Brazil band featuring 2 guitar players, a drummer, and a female singer named Selena, who is singing Emilio Santiago's classic The Girl from Ipanema. Tristan and Scarlett are the only 2 customers in the resort. Tristan must have reserved it only for Scarlett. Scarlett is surprised. Scarlett and Tristan come up to the table. It's the only table. A waiter is standing nearby. Tristan pulls a chair for Scarlett. She sits at the table. Tristan walks around the table. The waiter pulls the chair for him. Tristan nods thanks and sits in front of Scarlett. The waiter grabs a bottle of wine from the table, opens the wine, and pours the wine in the glasses. The waiter puts the wine on the table and walks away. Another waiter comes up to Tristan and Scarlett with 2 menus. He gives them the menus. Scarlett and Tristan take the menus. Scarlett turns the page and looks at the list of foods that are available. Scarlett, I'm not hungry. But I want to eat something. Tristan, Pick anything. They will cook it as you watch. Scarlett, what do you recommend? Tristan, I like lobster and grilled salmon. But you can have anything you want. Scarlett, seafood is good. Scarlett looks at the menu for seconds. Scarlett, to the waiter, I'll have lobster special. Scarlett gives the waiter the menu. The waiter takes the menu. Tristan, I'll have what she is having. Tristan gives the menus to the waiter. The waiter takes the menu and walks away. Selena continues to sing The Girl from Ipanema. Scarlett and Tristan gaze at each other's eye without a word for long seconds. She then. Scarlett, what's this? Tristan, under his breath, what? Scarlett, you're not trying to impress me, are you? Tristan shakes his head no. Scarlett, I thought it was supposed to be a simple date. I didn't expect to be treated like Duchess of Cambridge. Tristan smiles softly. Tristan, humorously, well. I figured if I planned the first date accordingly, you would grant me a second date. Scarlett, are you planning to have sex with me? If that's the case, you should know I have a boyfriend. I don't want to give you the wrong impression by sitting here and having dinner with you. I am not the kind of person who believes in consensual sex. Tristan, humorously, I will change your mind. Scarlett gives him a soft, alluring smile. On the soundtrack, Ari Barroso's Aquarela do Brasil plays melodiously. Scarlett and Tristan continue to talk without a sound. We see the chiefs preparing the foods. We stay with them for a couple of seconds. EXT Resort, Beach, later. The food is already served. Scarlett and Tristan are not really eating. They are just talking. But we don't hear what they are saying due to Aquarela do Brasil on the soundtrack. The music then falls in the background and plays softly on the background of the soundtrack. Tristan, what does he do, your boyfriend? Scarlett, he is an architect. Tristan, how did you two meet? Scarlett, I met him at a club. Pause. Tristan looks at her for more detail. Scarlett, I was sitting at the bar, drinking margarita. He came up to me and introduced himself. I thought he was handsome. We exchanged numbers. The next day, he called and asked me out. I accepted. Since then we have been dating for 2 years. Silent. They take sips. He then. Tristan, are you in love with him? Scarlett, what kind of question is that? Off his look. I mean, all I can tell you is loyalty is the ultimate measurement of relationship. And being loyal usually leaves me humble, but love always brings me trouble. Scarlett gives him a wink. He smiles softly. They gaze at each other's eyes for a couple of seconds. Then Selena begins to sing Ana Carolina's E is OAI. Tristan gives Scarlett his hand to dance. She takes his hand. They get up, come to the shore, and begin to dance next to the ocean. EXT Beach, later. Tristan and Scarlett take a walk down the shoreline. Tristan, besides traveling and studying samba, what do you like to do? Scarlett, I love writing. I was working on a short story, Invasion of Intelligent Aliens, but I postponed it due to schedule conflict. Tristan, what's it about? Scarlett, a story about a college student named Diana who goes to Paris for vacation. She meets an alien named Jack that took the form of human created in an incubator. He asks her out a date. She accepts without the knowledge he is alien. They spend the night going to opera, having dinner at a fancy restaurant, walking on the street of Paris. They make love. Jack then tells her he is an alien. They are planning to invade Earth. They will probably make deal with human to live together, or might wipe them away. They are in the middle of negotiation. Some of aliens are good guys. Others are bad guys. The alien that she is with, Jack, is a good guy. Nevertheless, the aliens have already controlled key government positions under everybody's nose. You don't know who is alien or regular people. Later, the aliens conclude to wipe out human despite the fact disapproval by good aliens that believe they should live with human and understand how they empathize, commiserate, show emotions, and fall in love. But the majority feel different. Humans are diseases. They must be wiped out, as soon as possible. The aliens begin to kill human by millions throughout the world. However, human put up a fight. Diana plays an important role in the struggle, and even become a leader. She finds out their weakness. They are allergic to breast milk. Tristan can't help but smile in wonder. Scarlett, I am fucking with you. They are susceptible to whiskey. It melts their brains. Suppose, you eject them with a syringe filled with whiskey. Their brains would melt. Yellow thing comes out of their ears, noses, and mouths. They then die. Some of human survival and Diana gather as much as whiskeys they can find. They make weapons, hit back with the help of Jack, who is head over heels in love with Diana, and win the war. He smiles softly. Tristan, that is an interesting story. Scarlett, thanks. But I feel silly writing aliens wiping human out in the middle of multiverse and quantum mechanics revolution. You know, no alien in the right state of mind travels to Earth millions of light years and thinks about eradicating human, because of natural resources issue, or whatever the reason might be, while billions of stars, hidden dimensions, quantum entanglement, multiverse, teleportation, and the possibility of alien life existing in the myriad galaxies changing the way we think, believe, and view the heavens. Tristan, I know what you mean. I can look at your eyes and fall in love with the stars in your irises from here to eternity. Scarlett smiles in beauty. Scarlett, anyway, do you believe in life after death or reincarnation? Tristan, I don't know, but I like the idea that the soul is imperishable whether you die, and became an angel of God in the sky, or commit sin and return as a butterfly, which a flap of your wings here in Rio cause creation at the far end of the universe as soft as a sigh, perhaps disguised as a teardrop that falls from heavens when hearts and the saints cry. And another flap of your wings in Paris causes hurricane in Neptune, and make my heart sing with a melodious tune. But so long as we have passion in our heart as vehement as typhoon, and seduce better than Aphrodite and Casanova, and fall head over heels in love faster than a fairy tale, prince and princess, in a Disney cartoon. When we make love, we become one, a star that shines warmer than 1,000 suns in June, glows brighter than supernova, and men's souls sweeter than the moon. Scarlett, that is quite seductive, but I didn't know you were a poet. He smiles softly. Tristan, I major English before I switched to business. Scarlett, where did you go to college? Tristan, UCLA, Anderson School of Management. Scarlett, that is something. Tristan, humorously, what about you? Since energy can't be created or destroyed, do you think it is possible that you were my wife and I was your husband in the previous life? Fate has brought us back for another take in life? They stop walking and stand lips to lips. Scarlett, it's possible. But tell me, who is your favorite poet? Tristan, I don't know, maybe Edgar Allan Poe. Scarlett, why is that? Tristan, I think he can read girls' hearts emotionally even though he didn't get a chance to live life to the its fullest or love to the its merriest. Scarlett, humorously, can you read girls' heart? Tristan, I can only read your heart. Scarlett, what is my heart thinking? Tristan, let me see, you have this fantasy, to come to Rio, meet a poet that makes honey with words, but kisses without a sound, and be swept in a long soft passionate kiss till your feet leave the ground, dance in the air lighter than a dandelion, as if nothing had to be strong, sing a love song, and prove Newton's theory of gravity, everything that goes up must come down wrong. Get lost in your heart with love that makes your soul wander around, kiss and be kissed French and never want to be found. Furthermore, and meanwhile, my heart tells me you are the sexiest girl in creation. Your voluptuous body is the definition of affection. It would be a lie if I say I only have admiration. And if it weren't blasphemy, I would have built a cathedral, and worship thee till my liver twists in flexion, and on the basis thereof, kiss each cell of thy body and frame without dividing them in section, start a new nation, and never wait for love in vain like Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca waiting for Ingrid Bergman at the train station. She smiles in beauty. Scarlett, under her breath, that is impressive. Tristan and Scarlett kiss intimately for long seconds. She then parts her lips. Scarlett, I shouldn't do this. I'm in relationship with someone. They look at each other for a second. She takes a deep breath and throws her arms around his neck. They kiss more passionately. Int. Resort, bedroom, night. Tristan and Scarlett make love surrounded by candles. It's sensual, seductive, and passionate. We stay with them with series cuts as they go at it with various sexual positions. Int. Resort, bedroom, later. Scarlett rests on Tristan's chest with close eyes. On the soundtrack, My Baby Just Cares for Me by Nina Simone plays melodiously. Tristan kisses her on the temple. We stay with them for a bit. Int. Resort, bedroom, morning. Scarlett is sleeping. There is a red rose next to her. Scarlett opens her eyes, sees the rose, smiles in beauty, grabs the flower, and smells it. Scarlett turns her eyes, looks around, and sees a beautiful white translucent dress on a chair. Scarlett gets up from the bed, covering her naked body with the blanket, and grabs the dress. She then comes up to the mirror, drops the blanket, places the outfit next to her amazing naked frame, and looks her image in the mirror. Mirror, point of view. Scarlett likes what she sees. EXT beach, day. Tristan stands in the beach alone, looking at the ocean. He seems lost in thought. Scarlett, wearing the white dress, comes up to the beach with the rose. Tristan looks at her and gives her a soft charismatic smile. Tristan, good morning. Scarlett, good morning. There is a long pause. They stand looking at the ocean. Scarlett turns her eyes, and looks at him. Tristan catches her eyes. They get closer and stand lips to lips. Note, they are talking between soft kisses. Tristan, softly down by her lips, last night, I saw you sleeping. I was going to tell you that you looked like an angel. But I didn't want to wake you up. Scarlett, I wasn't really sleeping. I was listening to the beat of your heart. It could have been my imagination, but I heard your heart beating more melodious than Beethoven's symphony. Tristan, humorously, sometime, my heart tends to overreact when it sees a beautiful girl. Scarlett, that's what I thought too. But the question is, can your lips composed as melodious as your heart? Tristan, softly by her lips, is that supposed to be a trick question? Scarlett, under her breath, what you think? They kiss French. EXT jungle, night. We see a man named Kevin Matthew, CIA, walking in the jungle of Brazil. He then comes to a place where a hidden cocaine factory is located. Kevin sees people loading cocaine into a truck with an advanced binocular. A drug lord named Carlos, equivalent of Pablo Escobar, is a major player. He is in the middle of exchanging cocaine with another drug lord named Rodriguez. We see troops moving up and down with machine guns and securing the area and other cocaine-related activities. Kevin puts down his gear, takes out an advanced camera from his bag, and begins to photograph everything. EXT street, day. Fernando gives a samba lesson to his students while dancing with one of his best students, Sabrina. Others stand in circle clapping and playing drums. Bystanders watch them in admiration. Scarlett takes pictures. Two of Fernando's students come to the center and begin to dance, replacing Fernando and Sabrina, who return to the circle. Then out of nowhere appears Tristan. He is holding a rose. Scarlett looks at him and beams in a soft, beautiful smile. He walks up to her. She throws her arms around his neck. Tristan and Scarlett kiss French. They part their lips. Tristan, what's up? Scarlett, nothing much. Tristan, it seems you are having a lot of fun. Scarlett, just taking pictures. How do you know I was here? Tristan, sixth sense. Scarlett, are you stalking me? Tristan, humorously maybe. Scarlett, I don't mind having a poet as a stalker. She kisses him. He kisses her. They kiss more intimately. Scarlett, so, what brings you here? Tristan, I knew I was going to find you here. I told my secretary if anyone comes looking for me, tell them I went to see this gorgeous girl that I am madly in love with. Scarlett smiles in beauty. Tristan gives her the rose. They kiss. Tristan, what are you up to? Scarlett, I'll probably go to my apartment and take a bath. Why? Tristan, I want to show you everything that Rio has to offer. Scarlett, sure. Let me take few more pictures. I have to download them in my computer. They kiss. On the soundtrack, a samba song plays melodiously. Scarlett and Tristan part their lips and have few words between soft kisses. Scarlett then continues to take few more pictures as Fernando and his student continue to dance in circle. Scarlett turns around and takes a picture of Tristan. Tristan tries to take the camera away from her. Scarlett holds it away from his reach. He grabs her arm and pulls her, trying to stop her from photographing him. She gets closer to his lips. They kiss French with style. Close up, Scarlett and Tristan. They kiss more passionately. Montage, music continues. 1. Scarlett and Tristan visit the statue of Christ the Redeemer. Scarlett takes the pictures of the statue of Christ the Redeemer, the city from the distance and various interesting part of the place. She then photographs Tristan. He tries to stop her, holding her in vain. Scarlett pushes his hand aside playfully and tells him to pose for her. Tristan takes a couple of steps back, stands next to the cliff, and gives her a soft charismatic smile. Scarlett photographs him. She then asks a tourist, who happens to be nearby, to take the picture of her and Tristan. The tourist takes their picture and returns the camera back to Scarlett. 2. Scarlett and Tristan take a ride on a cable car at Sugarloaf Mountain. 3. Scarlett and Tristan take parts at a small carnival in the street of Rio. 4. Scarlett and Tristan visit National Museum of Brazil. 5. Scarlett and Tristan come to a 5-star resort and talk to the clerk for a condominium. The clerk asks Scarlett for a passport. She takes out her passport. Tristan tells her to keep her passport. Instead he takes out his driving license and a stack of money, and gives the clerk the money and the license, so Scarlett doesn't have to pay a penny, as long as she is staying in Rio. The bill goes straight to Tristan. 6. Scarlett and Tristan come to the condominium and look at the room. They come to the porch, beach, look at the ocean. Scarlett wraps her arms around Tristan's neck, they kiss French. End. Beach, day. Scarlett and Tristan take a walk in the beach. They are in the middle of conversation. Tristan, what make you want to study samba? Scarlett, I don't know. I always wanted to do something stirring with my life. I have seen people doing the same things over a long period of time, like my mother, she taught philosophy in college, write a couple of books that have to do with the realistic examination of the truths, moral values, principles of existence, and rational thinking and behaviors. Actually, that is quite compelling. However, my stepfather, he worked in the bank most of his life, got promoted in a couple of occasions, and takes advantage of in simple things that we take for granted. That's about it. I mean, I'll kill myself if I spend the rest of my life doing the same thing that's lackluster. I want excitement out of life, something challenging, like going to interesting places, in the middle of the jungle with a camera crew and doing documentaries how cultural shape societies, and move to the next phase. Tristan, that sounds adventurous. Scarlett, I have this motto: make each day count, a drive that I might have inherited from my biological father. He was a journalist, got killed in Baghdad, covering the first Gulf War when I was 3. Tristan, I'm sorry to hear that. Scarlett, it's okay. Death is a part of life. I mean, I wish I had known him, growing up. I don't have any memory of him. But he must have died doing something that he enjoyed doing. You know, you don't always get to do what you want to do to the full extent of your abilities. Death or something gets in your way. Tristan, I know what you mean. The world isn't a safe place. Scarlett, I don't blame the world. There is always a war between good and evil, invisible forces that manifest in our brains and influence our actions, like the crime you see in the news every day. Tristan, under his breath, tell me about it. Scarlett, I don't think any individual gets up in the right state of mind, and say I'm going to commit a crime. Or start a war. There is a spiritual battle in the subconscious mind, forces we're not in control of, you know, malicious forces that we, as a society, are frankly unaware of, taking part in choices that we make, which will eventually lead us to the ultimate destruction of our very existence. Tristan, I hear you. Scarlett, I mean, I have seen things that make you question the stability of the human psyche and the major annihilation of human civilization, like this guy I knew in high school. He seemed nice guy. One day, he came to the school with a gun and started shooting randomly. 2 people died and 5 critically injured. Tristan, under his breath, that's scary. Scarlett, that's one of the most terrifying things I have ever witnessed in my life. It kind of made me observe things in the universal point of view. I mean, I am not one of those people who think everything happens for a reason. However, I believe there are conflicting forces that give rise to each other, light and dark forces that shape the universe, and carry out the law of creation. Tristan, under her breath, it is possible. Scarlett, suppose an alien comes to Earth from outer space. It hears about the extinction of dinosaurs and sees things like global warming and greenhouse effect, poverty here and there, atomic bomb, and nuclear disaster. It might assume it's the end of the world. But once Carl Jung said, in all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Chaos is a system that's designed to lead a subject into a hidden order. Tristan, quoting Friedrich Nietzsche, you need chaos in your soul to give birth to a dancing star. Scarlett, something like that. John Milton once said, long is the way and hard, that out of hell leads up to light. Anyway, nothing bores me like drama that keeps you at bay, and reality that deals with commonplace. I believe in romance. I believe in fairytale. I believe in passion. They stand lips to lips. Scarlett, we are here to fall in love, worship and be worshipped, kiss and be kissed, and change the fate of universe forever. Don't you agree with me? Tristan, softly by her lips, yes, I do. They kiss French. On the soundtrack, samba music plays melodiously. Montage. 1. Department store. Scarlett comes out of the dressing room wearing a beautiful gold translucent gown that shows her skin. Tristan looks at her and couldn't believe how beautiful she looks. He thinks she looks like a stardust in hidden universe and just reveals to him to keep his heart beating till his heart turns into gold. Scarlett looks at her image in the mirror and turns around, and walks toward Tristan. She asks him what he thinks about the dress. He tells her she looks beautiful. Scarlett throws her arms around his neck. They talk between soft kisses. They then kiss passionately. 2. Tristan and Scarlett take a boat ride in the forest. 3. Scarlett and Tristan visit a various species of plants and wildlife in Tijuca Forest in montage within montage. 4. Sao Conrado Beach, gliding. Scarlett and Tristan, wearing hang gliding safety gears, launch from a mountain under a supervisor and glide down the beach. Scarlett doesn't look she is terrified at all, even though she is doing it for the first time. Maybe, Tristan is with her. She feels invincible. 5. Lime Beach, Tristan and Scarlett take a walk in the sunset talking without a sound. 6. Restaurant, Scarlett, wearing that gold see-through dress, and Tristan in a tuxedo sit at a romantic restaurant with 2 glasses of red wines while talking without a sound. EXT. Christ the Redeemer, night. Scarlett and Tristan take a walk by the statue of Christ the Redeemer. Scarlett, does it happen to you every now and then that things come to your mind and occupy your thoughts when you think you are having fun? Tristan smiles softly. Tristan, yeah, sometimes. Scarlett, how do you define love? Tristan, how do you define it? Scarlett, talking about love is like asking someone, who is Christian, if she believes in Jesus Christ, and the question is not whether she believes in Christ or not, but what do we fall in love? Or maybe it's like asking an atheist, if they believe in afterlife. The question is not could there be life after death. But what is love? It is the dynamism between to want things that are permissible, and yearning for things that are unacceptable by universal standards for social behavior, and to make love till love do us part. And perhaps, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till we meet in next life. Tristan, what does that mean? Scarlett, you have to lie to yourself to get ahead of your heart and manage your emotion in order to understand someone who is amazingly irresistible like you. He smiles softly. Tristan, under his breath, how is that? Scarlett, you wish you had total control over your thoughts and feelings, but your mind does always work the way you would like to. It leaves a little bit doubt in your heart where you thought love is faith. They stand lips to lips. Scarlett, softly by his lips, I want you to kiss me as if I had never been kissed before. Tristan kisses her as if she had never been kissed before. She throws her arms around his neck and kisses him fervently. They kiss more passionately. On the soundtrack, Danza Kuduro by Don Omar featuring Lucenzo plays. Int. Club, night. All kinds of beautiful people dance samba as if there were no tomorrow. It's sensual, steamy, and lascivious. It feels like some of them are having sex on the dance floor. The DJ is playing the same song, Danza Kuduro. Tristan and Scarlett dance samba in the middle of this sensual extravaganza while kissing French. Scarlett is sweating as if she ran on a treadmill for hours. She might be a little bit drank. We have never seen her so free like this. She is lost deep in her heart. She can't get enough of Tristan. They dance lips to lips, shaking their hips and touching each other sensually. She puts her arms around him and kisses him French. He kisses her sweetly. They kiss more intimately while dancing samba. We stay with them for a bit as they continue to dance with Danza Kuduro, while making out with French kiss. Int. Resort, bedroom, night. Scarlett and Tristan make love surrounded by candles. It's sensual, seductive, steamy, and passionate. We stay with them with series cuts as they go at it with various sexual positions. It's one of the best sex in the history of cinema. Int. Resort, bedroom, later. Scarlett rests on Tristan's chest nude out of breath. Tristan runs his fingers down by her spinal cord. She opens her eyes, and says something humorous. We don't hear them what they are saying due to the music on the soundtrack. He says something romantic. Scarlett smiles in beauty. She gives Tristan a soft kiss on top of his lips. They exchange a couple of soft kisses while talking. They then kiss more passionately and continue to make love. Montage. On the soundtrack, I'm Yours by Jason Mraz plays melodiously. 1. Scarlett and Tristan visit the ghetto part of Brazil climbing steps up. They come to a sightseeing area and look at the city. They then talk between soft kisses and kiss French. 2. Scarlett and Tristan visit Cosmo Velho, a traditional neighborhood in the southern zone of Rio de Janeiro. 3. Leblon Beach, Cafe. Scarlett and Tristan sit at a table, outside sitting area, talking. They are having coffee mixed with a little bit alcohol. Scarlett then gets up, walks around the table, sits on his lap, and puts her arms around his neck. They talk between soft kisses and kiss French. 4. Scarlett and Tristan shop at a street market. They come to an antique shop. Scarlett grabs a French mask, looks at it, and tells him something humorous. He says something romantic. We don't hear what they are saying due to the music on the soundtrack. She smiles in beauty. They exchange soft kisses. Scarlett puts the mask on. Tristan looks at her in wonder. Scarlett says something humorous, puts down the mask, grabs a hat, and puts it on. Tristan smiles at her softly. Scarlett asks the sales clerk for the price. Tristan takes out 200 pesos, gives the clerk the money, and tells him to keep the change. Scarlett tells Tristan something sweet, and takes his arm. They exchange soft kisses and walk down the market talking. 5. Scarlett and Tristan watch a couple of teenagers playing soccer in the street. There is a kid named Ronaldinho. He is very good, amazingly gifted. He dribbles, passes 3 players, places the ball into the net, and celebrates, dancing samba. The audiences clap in admiration. Scarlett and Tristan smile in appreciation. Scarlett takes Tristan's arm. They walk toward the direction of the camera talking. 6. Scarlett and Tristan watch a couple of martial artists doing capoeira in the beach. 7. Scarlett and Tristan take a walk down by the shore bare feet, conversing. Ext/int. Mercedes-Benz convertible, moving, sunset. 2017 black Mercedes-Benz convertible. Tristan is behind the wheel, Scarlett sits in the passenger seat. They are driving the aesthetic part of Rio. Scarlett tells him something humorous. Tristan smiles softly and tells her something romantic. We don't hear what they are saying due to the music on the soundtrack. Scarlett unbuckles her seatbelt, comes up to Tristan, and begins to kiss him alluringly. The Benz wobbles off the lane. Mercedes-Benz. Tristan pulls over in the emergency lane. Scarlett and Tristan kiss more intimately. Scarlett then parts her lips, removes her underwear, and gets on top of Tristan. They kiss French and begin to make love in the car. Int. Hotel and resort, bedroom, night. Tristan and Scarlett make love. It's steamy, seductive, and passionate. We stay with them with series cuts as they go at it with various sexual positions. Note. The sex scenes are explicit. They don't leave anything for imagination, even though stated as steamy, seductive, and passionate. Ext Street, Day. Kevin, the same man that we saw in the jungle photographing Carlos at the drug factory, walks in the busy street of Rio, market area. 2 men, Fred and Tony, are following him from a fair distance. Kevin stops at a fruit stand and looks at them. Fred and Tony act like they are doing something else. Kevin grabs an orange, takes out a peso, gives the clerk the money, tells him to keep the change, and continues to walk down the street. Fred and Tony resume to follow him. Kevin walks faster, puts the orange in his pocket, and takes out his gun as he turns at the corner, next street. Kevin hides behind a cloth stand, a store. Fred and Tony take out their guns, and come to the same street where Kevin is hiding. They look around but couldn't see him. Kevin checks his gun if it's loaded. It's loaded. Fred and Tony keep looking around. They know they lost him. They move down the street. Kevin sees them walking away, puts his gun back in his belt, comes out of the hide, and walks towards the camera, the opposite side of the street. Ext Red Light Street, Day. Kevin walks down an interesting part of Rio peeling the orange. We see a couple of prostitutes standing on the street. Kevin greets 2-3 prostitutes as he continues to walk down the street. Kevin throws away the orange skin in the trash, splits the orange in half, takes a piece, and eats it. Then, out of nowhere, from the alley, comes a hitman named Pedro with a silencer and shoots Kevin in the side of his head. Kevin falls and dies at the spot. On the street, a black Lexus SUV comes driving and pulls next to Pedro. Pedro gets in the passenger seat. The car drives away. Ext Street, neighborhood, later. We see a crowd that consists of the Brazil police, paramedics, medias, bystanders, and others. The paramedics take Kevin's corpse to an ambulance zipped in a body bag. A police officer questions a prostitute, witness, in the background. Meanwhile, Agent Rick Johnson and Agent Samuel Carter arrive at the crime scene. They show their badges to Detective Xavier, Brazil police, who is in charge of the investigation. Detective Xavier gives the paramedics a sign to wait. Agent Johnson opens the bag. They look at the face to make sure he was one of their best. Agent Johnson and Agent Carter confirm that the body indeed belongs to Kevin. EXT/int. Tristan's Rio coffee plantation, day. Tristan gives Scarlett a tour of his coffee plantation. We see it in montage, how the coffee beans are picked, roosted, packaged, etc. EXT Tristan's Rio coffee plantation, later. Scarlett and Tristan take a walk in the middle of Tristan's coffee plantation, talking. Tristan, coffee was first discovered by an Ethiopian goat herder named Kaldi. His goats gobbled on the bright red berries of a certain bush and began to dance wild. He noticed his goats acting animated. He tried the fruit for himself and filled with vigor. He then brought the plant to a monastery nearby. But the holy man condemned the coffee cherries and threw them into the fire. They smell an alluring aroma, roasted the beans and introduced the coffee to the world. Scarlett, that's an interesting story. We then see 3 limousines driving at the direction of Tristan and Scarlett. Tristan looks at the limousines and holds Scarlett's hand. Scarlett, what are those limos? Tristan, business. Wesley will take you home. I will see you tomorrow. Tristan gives Wesley, who happens to be standing nearby, a nod to take Scarlett away. Wesley comes and takes Scarlett away. Tristan walks toward the limousines. The 3 limousines come driving and pull a stone's throw away from Tristan. 2 bodyguards, Diego and Rivellino, whom we might have seen them earlier in the jungle, get out of the first 2 limousines. Diego walks to the 3rd limo, and opens the rear door. Carlos steps out of the limo and walks toward Tristan. Carlos, in Portuguese, how are you, my friend? Tristan, in Portuguese, I'm fine. Carlos and Tristan exchange friendly hugs. Carlos, we must talk. They walk toward the direction of the camera. EXT Rio Coffee Plantation, Cafe, Day. Tristan and Carlos sit at the table, talking while sipping coffees. Diego and Rivellino stand nearby making sure that Carlos is safe. Carlos, who is this American girl that I keep hearing about, is she your new girlfriend? Tristan, just someone I met at a party. We are not serious. Carlos, it's good. I actually came to tell you bad news. The government of USA just got a hold of the last shipment I sent to Miami. On the soundtrack, music plays melodiously. Carlos continues to talk without a sound. EXT Miami, Carlos warehouse, flashback, day. We meet a man named John Peterson aka Johnny 37. He is a freelance USA government law enforcement agent. He reports to the Director of National Intelligence, DNI. He is currently working for CIA and DEA, undercover. We see him carrying a briefcase that is supposedly loaded with caches. Johnny is in the middle of doing business with a major narcotic trafficker named Rodney, 42, who works for Carlos. They stand waiting for a shipment, which should be arriving anytime soon. At the same time, we see Rodney's goons, about 15, standing with machine guns. They are making sure things go according to the plan. Then, a truck comes driving followed by 4 Toyota SUVs. They pull in front of Rodney and Johnny. 8 goons get out of the SUVs carrying machine guns. A drug trafficker named Reggie, who also works for Carlos, steps out of the first SUV, and approaches Johnny and Rodney. Johnny opens the briefcase and shows Reggie the money. We cut to the back of the truck. 2 goons take out a ton of coffee from the truck and puts the bag on the floor. Reggie opens the coffee safe with a switchblade, pulls out a bag of cocaine hidden in coffee beans, and gives Rodney the cocaine. The music on the soundtrack falls in the background and plays softly. Rodney, to Johnny, this is pure 100% genetic engineer Brazilian cocaine. The best in the world, melting point 350. Then, out of nowhere come Miami SWAT team, 6 DEA agents, 5 FBI agents, 5 special forces, Green Beret, drawing their guns. Chef FBI Brad Payton, FBI. Freeze. You're all under arrest. DEA Steve Madison, to Rodney, drop your fucking weapons now. We see an helicopter flying in the air. They caught them by surprise. The goons drop their guns and surrender in ease. EXT Miami, Carlos warehouse, later. Chef FBI Brad Payton takes Rod and puts him in an unmarked police car, walks up to Johnny, and talks to him without a sound. EXT Rio Coffee Plantation, Cafe, night. Back to Tristan and Carlos. Carlos takes a sip and puts down the cup on the table. Carlos, $240 million worth of cocaine got confiscated by FBI. The good news is the show will go on. We are still in business. I have a couple of kilos that are coming to your way. Twice the amount of cocaine that they took. I want you to replace all the workers. Get new workers. I don't want anybody's blood in my hand. Int. FBI headquarters, meeting room, night. It's a joint force, CIA, DEA, and FBI and other law enforcement agents. 2 men and 2 women with FBI and 2 men representing DEA and Johnny, representing CIA, sit at a round table. They are looking at digital slides. Brad Payton, chief of FBI, who is standing next to the projector, leads the meeting. Carlos on the slider. Brad, Carlos Valencia was born January 1, 1970 in Marseille, France. His mother is Walsh, born in Cardiff, Wales. His father Eduardo Valencia is a professional football player of Colombian nationality. He played for Olympique de Marseille, Sao Paulo FC and for Colombia national team, and Liverpool FC where he met Carlos's mother Catherine Valencia. Carlos went to the University of Cambridge and got his BA in biotech. Speaks 4 languages, English, Spanish, Portuguese, and fluent French. He has drug factories that produce genetic engineer cocaine in Mexico City, Bolivia, and Brazil, which the cocaine is said to be 10 times purer than the average cocaine that passes the border. They are highly addictive. Carlos is at the top of America's most wanted list. He is wanted by federal government for crimes including murder, drug trafficking, manufacturing, and running drug dwellings. In addition to that, he is responsible for more than 90% of illegal drug that's in the market here in Miami area and across the East Coast. FBI, meeting room, later. Tristan is on the cylinder. Brad, Tristan Vincent was born July 30, 1982 in Los Angeles. We don't have a good deal of record on him. He got his business management degree at University of California, Los Angeles in 2002. At this point, we don't know his direct involvement with Carlos cartel to full extent. But our informants in Rio tells us he is one of the leading coffee exporters that Carlos uses to smuggle drugs into the USA on a regular basis. Int. CIA headquarters, Tom's office, day. CIA Director Thomas Walter aka Tom sits at his desk, looking at a classified file. Then. There is a knock at the door. Tom, come in. Johnny walks in. Johnny, good afternoon. Tom, have a seat. Johnny sits at the table. Tom, you've run 3 undercover operations in Bolivia, Colombia, and Mexico City? Johnny, right. Tom, it says you are responsible for toppling of Rodriguez cartel in Bolivia single-handedly. Johnny, it's a team effort, sir. Tom, prior to that, you led a successful operation in Mexico City and Colombia, and brought down Palomino and Valderrama cartels. Johnny doesn't have to respond for that. His work speaks for itself. There is a silent moment. Tom looks at the file more, and puts his signature on the first page. He turns the page and adds another signature on the next page. Tom, you're aware of that we just lost one of our finest in Rio, Agent Matthew, who had been working undercover. Flashback, autopsy room, Kevin's crypt. The Secretary of CIA Raymond Gibson, 46, and Dr. Alex Jordan, 38, come to the morgue. Dr. Jordan opens the door, slides out the pallet, and pulls down the sheet. Ray confirms that the body belongs to Kevin Matthew. Int. CIA, Tom's office, day. Back to, Tom and Johnny. Tom, I want you to go down South America and carry out this Operation 79 as soon as possible and end this nonsense. Johnny takes the file and looks at it. On the soundtrack, Samba song plays melodiously. EXT airplane, flying, day. We see an airplane flying in the air. Int. Airplane, flying, day. Johnny sits in first class, drinking champagne. He is looking at a fashion magazine. A female flight attendant walks by him. He turns his eyes, checks out her curvaceous butt, and smiles to himself. Johnny then grabs his champagne, takes a sip, puts it down, and turns his attention back to the magazine. EXT Hilton Hotel, night. An established shot of Hilton Hotel. It is located next to the beach. Int. Hotel, lobby, day. Johnny walks in with a suitcase and comes to the front desk. 2 clerks are behind the main counter. Johnny, to the clerk 1 I made reservation. Clerk 1, what's your name, sir? Johnny, Roger Levin. Johnny takes out an identification card and gives him the ID. Clerk 1 takes the ID and looks at it. EXT Hotel, Johnny's room, porch, morning. Johnny, wearing bathrobe, is on the phone, listening to the other end while moving up and down. Note, we don't hear the other end of the conversation. Silent. Johnny listening more. He then. Johnny, on the phone right. Pause. Listening. Johnny, I get it. Int. Hotel, Johnny's room, living room, morning. Johnny steps into the living room. Johnny, sure. There is a doorbell. Johnny walks up to the entrance and opens the door. It's room service. Johnny lets the waiter to bring the breakfast inside as he continues to listen to the other end. The waiter brings the meal inside and says, enjoy your meal in Portuguese. Johnny gives the waiter $20 tip while talking on the phone. Johnny, on the phone I don't want him to know I am down here. The waiter takes the money, thanks him, and leaves the room. Johnny, okay. Pause. Listening. Johnny, I'll do that. Take care. Johnny hugs up the phone and looks at his breakfast, bacon, omelets, French toast, and orange juice. Johnny grabs the French toast and has a bite. EXT Cafe, day. Scarlett and Tristan sit at a table talking while drinking 2 cups of coffee and enjoying desserts, ice cream and 2 chocolate and vanilla cake. Scarlett, self is composed of a lot of incompatible characters. There is always conflict thoughts in your head, subconscious war between ill-assorted desires and impulses. Tristan, tell me about it. Scarlett, I mean you have voices that tell you do this and don't do that. For instance, in the term of smoking cigarettes, there is a voice that says you shouldn't smoke. Smoking causes lung cancer. Tristan, interrupting her, you don't really smoke, do you? Scarlett, I used to. But I quit about a year ago with the help of smoking patch. I only smoke every now and then when I get that strong craving. Tristan, What that strong craving? Scarlett, sex. Tristan smiles softly. Tristan, humorously, I get that craving a lot ever since I met you. Scarlett smiles in beauty. Scarlett, anyway, let me go back to the point that I was making. Tristan, go ahead. I am listening. Scarlett, there is a brain in your skull that weighs 390 grams. It is susceptible to all sorts of addiction. A voice tells you I need a cigarette. The craving is killing me. And when you try to reason with your addiction, like asking yourself what if I get hurt? I don't want to be diagnosed with lung cancer. The voice tells you I would rather die with lung cancer than live without nicotine. Life is short. Take a chance. Tristan smiles softly. There is a silent moment. Tristan and Scarlett gaze at each other's eyes softly. Scarlett takes a sip and puts down her coffee. She then. Scarlett, who was he? That man who came in the limousine the other day. Tristan, softly, business. Scarlett, he looks like a gangster, drug lords that you see in the movies, like Pablo Escobar. Tristan smiles charismatically at her. Pan 2, Cafe 2, Johnny. We see Johnny sitting at a table, a cafe across the street. He is spying on Tristan and Scarlett while pretending to be reading a newspaper. Johnny looks at them. Pan 2, Scarlett and Tristan. Scarlett and Tristan are talking. Pan 2, Johnny. Johnny puts down his newspaper aside. He has a camera hidden under his jacket. Johnny takes pictures of Scarlett and Tristan. Back to Tristan and Scarlett. They gaze at each other's eyes silently. She then. Scarlett, what do you want to do the rest of the day? Tristan, whatever you desire. Scarlett, I was thinking about going to the beach and taking a long walk. Tristan looks at her eyes and gives her a soft charismatic smile as if he were saying as you wish. She smiles in beauty, gets up, sits on his lap, and puts her arms around his neck. They kiss French. EXT beach, sunset. Scarlett and Tristan take a walk in the beach. Scarlett, Buddhism teaches us the mystical law of cause and effect, revealing our innate wisdom and compassion, you know, dispelling self-doubt, challenging our problem courageously, and establishing a state of profound happiness. But how do we know that we are made to fall apart? 1 minute, we are born. The next minute, we are adults figuratively speaking, but we eventually become grown-ups, worrying about how we relate to others, and what we must accomplish, and living up to our expectation. Then develop all kinds of phobias and bad habits. You know, like smoking, which I mentioned earlier, drinking, drugs, and others. Some caught up in the moment and live to tell the greatest love stories of their lives. Others fall short of meeting their goals and live in vain. Some get confronted by forces that are beyond their understandings and go crazy. Others just back down. In the end, we get old, sick, and die with all kinds of diseases. Some of us die young. We don't even make it the later part of normal life. Tristan, that sounds scary. Scarlett, I mean, think about it in general, what caused the extinction of the dinosaurs? All of a sudden a giant rock comes out of space and smashed into Earth and killed all terrestrial reptiles that lived in the Mesozoic era? Or its supervolcano that was responsible for hellish environment around 65 million years ago, exterminating out more than half of all species on the planet? Or perhaps all these dinosaurs' fossils and prehistoric relics could be a testament that one day a massive earthquake, or a comet will come from space and wipe out all lives in Earth like they wiped out the dinosaurs to keep the chaos theory in play. Tristan, humorously, God have mercy on our souls. Scarlett, in contrast, life always finds way to innovate itself. And if you see it from evolution point of view and look at human evolution, we evolved from a single cell organism into much complex human beings in a short period of time. We built spaceships and put a man on the moon. And 100 years from now, we'll take another big leap to Mars and, soon, populate the universe. Tristan, that sounds optimistic. Scarlett, let me ask you a question that has nothing to do with chaos and inhabiting the universe. Maybe it has something to do with colonizing the universe. Have you ever been in love? Tristan, love deprives every gram of your soul from your heart and leaves you empty. Scarlett, what's it? Tristan, nothing. Scarlett, what do you mean by nothing? Tristan, tragedy. Scarlett, what tragedy? You were in love, weren't you? Tristan, a while ago. Scarlett, what happened? Tristan, I met a girl named Sarah while I was going to UCLA. We dated for 2 years. She then diagnosed with a rare blood cancer. Went to all kinds of chemotherapy. In the end, she died of leukemia after she fought the cancer for 6 months. She was only 20. Scarlett, I am sorry to hear that. Tristan, it's okay. There are things in life that you have to accept and move on. Maybe, death is not on top of the list. But she whispers in my heart every time I think about giving up on happiness and turning my back on love. There is a long pause. They keep on walking quietly. Tristan, anyway, you were saying something about exploring the universe, and how we are going to travel into space and inhabit the cosmos. Could that be the answer to some of the biggest questions of life? Scarlett, it's nothing. Just science and philosophy that keep surfacing in the back of my brain. I don't really believe that evolution will bring salvation to our souls. It's only a theory. Tristan, what's it? Scarlett, I mean, universe formed 13.7 billion years ago from a single point. Earth formed about 4.5 billion years ago, and life appeared a billion years later, started out from a single cell, and then evolved into a complex living thing, and inhabited the earth. Simultaneously, there are forces that govern this evolution and other forms of lives throughout the universe that we don't know about. It's like the heart. It is not aware of the existence of other organs in your body, just pumps blood through blood vessels with no strings attached, so to speak. It's designed to carry out a set of specific tasks. For the most part, it is a vital component of a human that has a well-developed brain. You know, it is like we are a part of a bigger conscious. There could be a universal order or a god, and humans are its heart. Each individual is a cell that carries out a special task, and reproduces in order to take life the direction where it's supposed to go. Tristan, that's an interesting theorem. Scarlett, do you think the theory of evolution, survival of the fittest, sexual selection, and Red Queen's hypothesis, the advantage of sexual reproduction at the level of individuals, and the constant evolutionary arms race between competing species are the sum totals of our existence, in which reality is characterized, exemplified, and epitomized? Or you believe in creation, God created the world in 7th day. He made Adam from the dust and breathed life into him, and then created Eve from his rib bone. What is your take? They stop face to face. Tristan, I don't know, I believe each person is a unique individual. A soul that's eternal. A life force that's divine, which has existed since the dawn of time, and wanders throughout the cosmos like invisible winds. It only finds our hearts the second we believe in love disguised as phenomenon. She smiles in beauty. Scarlett, are you really a businessman or a prophet disguised as romanticist? He smiles charismatically at her. Tristan, you have no idea how much I adore you. They kiss French. On the soundtrack, samba music plays melodiously. EXT Sambadrome, Carnival, Night. It's the annual Rio de Janeiro Samba Carnival Parade. Locals and students from various samba schools dance, playing drum, shaking their hips enticingly, moving their bodies with sensuality, etc. There are thousands of people at the attendance. Scarlett and Tristan stand at the VIP, watching the festival. Scarlett says something seductive. We don't hear what they say due to the song on the soundtrack. Tristan tells her something romantic. Scarlett smiles in beauty. They exchange soft kiss and talk without a sound. They then kiss French. Int. Resort, bedroom, night. Scarlett and Tristan make love between takes, sex and carnival. Note, we'll see Tristan and Scarlett making love with various sexual positions, blended with the carnival, provocative, steamy, and passionate mishmash sex scene done with series cuts. EXT Resort, bathtub, night. Scarlett and Tristan sit in a bathtub. Scarlett is resting on Tristan's chest. He is behind reciting a poem, Sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare from memory. Tristan, let me not to the marriage of true minds. Admit impediments. Love is not love. Which alters when it alteration finds. Or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no. It is an ever-fixed mark. That looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark. Whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks. Within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks. But bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved. I never writ, nor no man ever loved. He kisses her on the shoulder. There is a silent moment. She then. Scarlett, earlier you said you adore me. Does that mean you don't love me? He smiles softly. Tristan, softly down by her neck, I love you more than my soul can take it. I said, I adore you, because my heart would stop beating if I gave you the slightest idea how much I love you. She smiles in beauty. They kiss. Scarlett, you are not really a businessman, are you? Tristan, no, I am not. He kisses her on the shoulder. Scarlett, so, tell me something poetic, seduce me, and make me love you more than I can take it. He smiles in wonder and kisses her on the cheek. Tristan, darling, why do hearts dream? Only feel the truth as sublime light thou beam. Eyes that lure kingdoms into ecstasy. Lips that win heart over eternal glory. The dawn of thy beautiful face only the morning sun shifts, and dares a white rose with its finest gold and pink rays, and sets deep within Venus's each skin cell phase before time and space, still won't match, or come close to thy timeless beauty and eternal grace. He kisses her on the shoulder. And shall I measure up thy pure heart to moon high, while thou art brightening my soul like the morning stardust on the oceans, and the twilight on the glorious sky? Because all my heart wants to do is to fall deeply and feverishly in love with thee till it gets hotter, court you on the land, walk thee on the water, change my religion, and believe in Goddess the Mother, Goddess the Holy Spirit, and Goddess the Daughter, as if love were the only thing that should matter. Kiss thee French and die in my soul as if thy tongue were made to cut hearts and slaughter, and my heartbeats should replace rose petals in the skies that love and craving set on fire and scatter. He kisses her on the shoulder. Yet, I shall be kissed by thee tenderly, and resurrect from the dead. Forget I have ever bled, neither put my heart together with a needle and thread, nor got caught in bloodshed and kisses that shred. Caress thy neck, collarbons, breasts, and belly when you feel happy, blue, content, and even dread. However, let me return to thy beautiful eyes and tell thee what I feel about love. I want to be in your heart and dance with your soul, like you are under my skin in full control. Let me become the king of your emotions, like how you make breathing, bleeding, living, and dying for thee my top priority, and falling head over heels in love with you my number one goal. Allow me to fulfill your desire like how you ignite my passion, and make you feel whole. Let me get you aroused and steal your heartbeats without being accused of the crime of burglary, and breaking and entering, and in doing so, turn your pulses into spell wearing neither a mask nor a glove like how you get me in the mood for love. And kiss your lips like how I am addicted to you, and sometimes end a sentence with above, kiss your belly and make love to thee till thy heart fly like a dove. He kisses her on the shoulder. Let that be seduction that I might have put together in the subconscious mind to seduce you without intention. Nevertheless, I would give thee a soft kiss on thy lips to let thee know thou art a goddess instead, pick up where I left off, and strive for what lies ahead. I would go down, spread your legs, and kiss thy inner thighs till they turn to red, bestow upon thee love bites that make hickeys vaccines that a doctor gives to a patient in a hospital bed, and nurses study at med. Then give you the sweetest oral pleasure like I pled, more delicious than tears that you shed, free your heart from deception that you are told, led, and have read, not done but when all is said, and never ask Aphrodite to provide me my daily bread, and make love to you till our souls drench with fever more enchanting than dreams cover roses with dew droplets in the night, which is, for its divine nature, better left unsaid, as if love were a testament more enthralling than elation that I visualized in my head. He kisses her on the shoulder. And when thou think lust is grand, romance can never go magic and waves crashing on the sand, and desire is nothing but fad that drives a heart, in love, mad, and turns a girl bad. I will give thee passion that defines the art of making love, and fever that thee never had. Above everything, I will make sure so long as I have love in my heart, you will never be sad. She smiles in beauty. They kiss French. Note, the poem will be kept short during filming. Scarlett, I shouldn't fall in love with you. They exchange soft kisses. Scarlett, I think I'm going to hell and burn for eternity. They kiss more intimately. Int. Wedding gowns shop, day. Scarlett stands looking at a gorgeous wedding gown. Then Violet comes out of a dressing room, wearing a stunning wedding gown. Scarlett turns her eyes and looks at her. Violet, what do you think? Scarlett, it's beautiful. Violet looks at herself in the mirror and turns to Scarlett. Violet, it's not sexy. Scarlett, humorously, it does not have to be sexy. It's a wedding gown. You know, you are supposed to look innocent. That is why you were white. Violet, playing alone, everybody would think I am a virgin with this wedding dress. Antonio is not going to find my vagina. Scarlett smiles softly. Scarlett, humorously, Madonna has nothing on you. Violet, I will cut it, indicating above her knees, with a scissor, and make it a mini skirt. It's time we change how a bride wears a dress at her wedding day. You know, I am a fashion designer. I might as well wear what I designed. Scarlett thinks Violet has a point. EXT sidewalk, day. Scarlett and Violet walk on the sidewalk conversing while carrying shopping bags. Violet, nothing scares me more than the thought of spending the rest of my life with one man. Marriage is a trap, but I love Antonio more than life itself. He makes you feel like you're the only girl that ever existed in this unpredictable world. Scarlett, it's not easy to get married nowadays. But you are lucky. You found Antonio. He is incredibly sensual. You two will make a great couple. Violet, thanks. What about you? I am not going to let you get away with crime. You are not actually going out with Tristan, are you? Scarlett smiles softly but says nothing. Violet, I hope your boyfriend won't find out. I am sure he'd be crashed if he knew that you are having an affair with a gorgeous man. Scarlett, smiles in beauty, I'm just having a little fun. Tristan and I aren't serious about each other. Violet, sardonically, I feel you. I am not marrying Antonio either. We are just tying the knot, so we could have sex when we have nothing else to do. Scarlett, I mean it. He has a girlfriend that he cares about. I have a boyfriend that I care about, end of the story. Violet, let's not end the story yet. You just said you have a boyfriend that you care about. That doesn't necessarily mean you are head over heels in love with Justin, as much as you love Tristan. Scarlett smiles quietly as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Int. Shopping center, Macy's, day. We see customers shopping. Scarlett and Violet walk in. Violet, I am thinking about going back to the state and becoming a fashion designer. I don't want to live on Antonio's fortune forever, even though I do modeling part-time. Scarlett, that is not a bad idea. Scarlett and Violet come to a perfume section. Violet takes a perfume, sprays it on her forearm, and smells the scent. Violet, this smells like rose. Scarlett takes another perfume and sprays it on her hand. At the same time, she looks at Tristan, who is shopping with Cassandra. Tristan and Cassandra are at the women clothing collection. Tristan turns his eyes and looks at Scarlett while Cassandra, who holding a yellow gown, talks to a sales clerk. Scarlett turns her eyes and acts like as if she didn't see him. She wants to play it cool. Violet, Antonio and I were New York City a year ago. We thought about opening a beauty salon in the heart of Manhattan. But he changed his mind at the last minute and said, New York City is one of the most overrated cities in the world. Even though Scarlett tries to avoid awkward moment, her thought is occupied by Tristan. She can't help it, turns her eyes and looks at him. Tristan catches her eyes and gives her a soft smile. Meanwhile, the sales clerk escorts Cassandra to the dressing room. Tristan walks up to Scarlett and Violet. Violet is surprised to see Tristan. Tristan, hola. Violet, hola. Tristan and Violet cuddle and kiss on the cheeks. Scarlett, hi. Tristan, hi. Scarlett and Tristan kiss on the cheeks as well. Violet, speaking of the devil, we were just talking about you. Humorously, I was telling her if she continued to see you, I'd tell her boyfriend to come and take her back to USA. They all smile moderately. Violet, how are you? Tristan, I'm fine. Violet, what are you doing here? Tristan, shopping for holiday. Violet, by yourself? Tristan, with Cassandra. She is in the fitting room. She should be out any second. Violet, in that case, let me not waste your time. You have a lot of things to talk about. To Scarlett. I will go look for that wedding veil I was telling you about. To both, see you around. Bye. Tristan, bye. Violet walks away, leaving Tristan and Scarlett to sort things out. Tristan, what's up? Scarlett, nothing much. Tristan, what you're up to? Scarlett, shopping. Tristan, are you free tonight? Scarlett, no, I am busy. I have to finish my project. Tristan, what project? Scarlett, I have this paper that I have to write. I can't go out. There is a silent moment. Tristan and Scarlett gaze at each other's eyes softly as if they just wanted to kiss without their permissions. Then, at the other end, Cassandra comes out the dressing room, wearing the yellow gown, and looks around for Tristan. Scarlett, you should go back. Your girlfriend is looking for you. Tristan, I must see you tonight. Scarlett, I can't. Pause. Tristan continues to gaze at her eyes. Cassandra sees Tristan, begins to walk toward him. Scarlett, she is coming this way. Tristan, meet me at the statue of Christ the Redeemer tonight. Scarlett, I can't go out. I am accepting an important phone call. Tristan continues to gaze at her eyes. Tristan, I'll be there at 7 p.m. Tristan turns just in time as Cassandra approaches them. Cassandra, Tristan. Tristan, hi, honey. She puts her arms around him. They exchange soft kisses. Tristan, this is Scarlett. You remember her? We ran into her at Fabino's art show a few weeks ago. Cassandra, I remember her. The girl from America. Hi. I am Cassandra. Cassandra gives Scarlett her hand. She can sense it. This American girl is trying to steal her boyfriend. Scarlett, hi. Scarlett takes her hand, greeting. Cassandra, nice to see you again. Scarlett, same. Cassandra, to Tristan, what do you think about this dress? Scarlett, it's lovely. Cassandra, I don't like the color. It's like performing at Maracana Stadium. Everybody wears yellow. I want something different. Tristan, it looks good on you. Cassandra, I'll try that red dress that you picked first. Cassandra throws her arms around Tristan's neck. They kiss. Cassandra, to Scarlett, do you mind if I steal him away for a minute? Scarlett shakes her head no. Tristan sees Scarlett feeling awkward. Tristan, we were just saying, bye. To Scarlett. I will see you around. Tristan gives Scarlett his hand to shake. Scarlett takes his hand, farewell. Scarlett, bye. Cassandra takes Tristan's arm. They walk toward the women clothing section. Scarlett looks at Tristan covetously as he leaves with Cassandra. Scarlett then turns around and walks towards the camera. EXT Scarlett's suite, porch, night. /int. Justin's convertible, moving, night. Standing at her porch, Scarlett talks to Justin on her cell phone. Justin's convertible. Sitting behind the wheel, Justin talks to Scarlett on his cell phone. Note, we see both sides of the conversation. Scarlett, on the phone, where you're going? Justin, on the phone, I'm driving to the hospital to see Grandma. She just had a stroke. Scarlett, I am sorry to hear that. Justin, it's okay. She is an 89-year-old woman. These things tend to happen when people get to that age. But she is a fighter. She will come out of it. Scarlett, I hope she is fine. Justin, she is going to be fine. Don't let it trouble your mind. Scarlett, give her my warmest wish for a speedy recovery. Justin, sure. Let's talk about you. What are you up to? Scarlett, I am getting ready to take a nap. I had been shopping with Violet since 10 a.m. in the morning. I ran out of energy. Justin, you should rest. Scarlett, I should. I have to get up in the morning and help her organizing. She is getting married this Saturday. Justin, that's wonderful. I wish I could be there. She invited me. But I told her I couldn't make it. All of a sudden, everything got hectic. I have to design that hotel from scratch. The actress changes her mind at the last minute and wants a 5-star hotel instead. Scarlett, is that good or bad? Justin, it's great. She just signed to do 3 movies for Netflix. They paid her $20 million. Bank gave her another $50 million. She is going to be a proud owner of the sexiest hotels in Miami, if not in the world. You know, she wants exotic dancing rooms where they serve you food on naked human bodies. Scarlett can't help but smile in wonder. Justin, this is how she described it. Customers are going to eat from women's breasts, bellies, and vaginas. They are going to be exotic dancers, who dance like 50 Shades with S&M and BDSM and erotic shows, and Moulin Rouge in a grand scale, while people eating. I don't want to talk about the rooms. Literally, it's a sex house. Scarlett, whose idea is that? Justin, I think it's her idea. Actors are the most fucked up people in the world. I am only an architecture, just design what they tell me, and see how it would turn out. Scarlett, humorously, I don't mind going there and checking it out. Justin, I had the vision figured out. It's matter of time. I should have the blueprint at the end of this week. She wants me to start right away. Scarlett, that is good. Justin, anyway, I was thinking about you the whole day. You know, fearing you might be taken hostage by Che and those South American guerrilla fighters. Scarlett, thanks for the concern. Scarlett smiles softly. Justin, there is no war, is there? Scarlett, no. This is Rio de Janeiro. There is no war. People come to Rio to have fun. Justin, are you having fun? Scarlett, kind of. There is a pause. Scarlett has something in her mind. She wants to tell him, but chooses to say nothing. Justin, what is kind of? Scarlett, nothing. I am in love with the city. Justin comes to the hospital driving, parks his car next to the emergency room entrance, at handicap sign, gets out of the car, and begins to walk toward the hospital while talking to Scarlett on the phone. Justin, I am at the hospital. I'll call you tomorrow. Scarlett, bye. Justin, bye. He hangs up the phone and enters into the hospital. Scarlett hangs up the phone and looks at the ocean. We stay with Scarlett. She is lost in thought. She seems in love. On the soundtrack, Oleta Adams's Get Here plays melodiously. EXT Christ the Redeemer, night. Scarlett waits for Tristan by the statue of the Christ the Redeemer. EXT Street, night. Tristan rides a motorcycle down the street without a helmet. EXT Christ the Redeemer, night. We are back to Scarlett. She continues to wait for him. Then, Tristan comes climbing the steps. Scarlett sees him and runs toward him with joy. He walks toward her. They cuddle and kiss. Close up, Scarlett and Tristan. They kiss more passionately. They then part their lips. Scarlett, I can't stop thinking about you. Humorously, I thought my heart was going to stop and die while I was still breathing. He smiles softly. Tristan, softly down by her lips, I think I'll go crazy if I let you out of my sight for nanoseconds. They kiss more intimately. On the soundtrack, EU, Voci, Omar E. Ella #EVME by Luan Santana plays. EXT Rio Restaurant and Resort, Beach, Night. It's a romantic 5 stars restaurant and resort built next to the ocean. There is a live band featuring piano, drum, guitars, and others musical instruments. Luan Santana himself sings EU, Voci, Omar E. Ella #EVME live. On the dance floor, Brazilians, tourists from various countries, and attractive girls dance samba. Tristan and Scarlett sit at a table with glasses of martinis, conversing. Scarlett, I feel guilty. Tristan, what do you feel guilty? Scarlett, I am a bad girl. Tristan, why did you say that? Scarlett, I don't know. Tristan, if you don't know why you are bad, that means you are not a bad girl. Scarlett, if I am not a bad girl, so what am I? Tristan, you are beautiful, sexy, amazing, and delicious. She smiles in beauty. Scarlett, playing along, a girl can be beautiful, sexy, amazing, delicious, and bad at the same time. Tristan, smiling, what's wrong with that? Scarlett, it just feels wrong. I am unfaithful. She takes a sip from her martini. Scarlett, this tastes like water. Let me have scotch instead, and stop this guilty feeling from torturing my heart. Tristan, do you think that is a good idea? Scarlett, so, what do you suggest? Tristan, I don't know what to say. I am happy whenever I look at you, happier whenever I count the stars in your beautiful eyes, the happiest whenever I kiss your scrumptious lips, and the most thrilled whenever I make love to you. I don't feel a slight bit of guilt. Do that mean I lack empathy? Or I am head over heels in love with you? Scarlett, playing along, it means you are head over heels in love with me. But I am twice head over heels in love with you. I get some of best orgasms in my life every time we make love. But I can't help it. Sometimes, I feel guilty, because I am having a lot of fun. I have never been in love like this before. Tristan, humorously, I don't know what that means, you have never been in love like this before. She drinks the martini in one breath, gets up, sits on his lap, and puts her arms around him. Scarlett, if I don't kiss you, I will die with lack of oxygen in my heart. She kisses him French. They kiss more intimately. He softly parts his lips and takes a deep breath. Tristan, wait a second. Humorously, if you continue to kiss me like that, I would die from lack of oxygen in my lungs. Scarlett, playing alone, I will rise you from dead with a tender kiss. He smiles in wonder. They kiss passionately. She then parts her lips and gets up from his lap. Scarlett, come on. Let's dance. She takes his hand and brings him to dance floor. It's sand. At the same time, Luan Santana begins to sing Acerdando o Predio with samba beat. Tristan and Scarlett begin to dance samba. Everybody is having fun. Scarlett is a little bit drunk, dancing sensual, as if she were possessed by supernatural forces. Woody Allen would say, she is polymorphously perverse. She gets pleasure in every part of her body when she is touched. And if Tristan touches her sexually, Scarlett will melt to her last heartbeat, her knees would get weak. And she would fall on the sand. Scarlett feels it, puts her arms around his neck and kisses him French. Instead of samba, they part their lips and begin to dance slow. Yet Scarlett can't get enough of Tristan. She kisses him. He kisses her. Close up, Tristan and Scarlett. They kiss more intimately, and then part their lips. Note, they are talking between soft kisses. Scarlett, I want to strip for you. Tristan, you want to go somewhere else? Scarlett, no, I want to dance for you like an exotic dancer at a strip club, spinning around the pool and all. Tristan, they don't have a pool. Scarlett, we can skip that part. They exchange soft kisses. Tristan, we can go to a strip club if you want to. Scarlett, no, I want to do it here. Tristan, you mean, in front of everybody? Scarlett, what's wrong with that? Tristan, rumor. Scarlett, what rumor? Tristan, what if they told your boyfriend, do you think he is going to be cool about it? Scarlett, you are my boyfriend. They kiss French. Scarlett, I will give you the best lap dance of your life without underwear. It is as good as sex. They exchange soft kisses. Tristan gives the manager, Jerry, 38, who is standing at the bar, a nod, to send the customers home. Jerry gives Marco a nod to do you know what? Marco nods his I got it. He enters the main hotel. Meanwhile, Lou and Santana continues to sing Acerdando o Predio. Everybody continues to enjoy their outings. Tristan and Scarlett continue to dance samba while kissing. Then, there is a fire alarm. The musicians stop the music. Customers don't know what is going on. They ask the servers what's happening. Jerry tells the customers there is a fire emergency. To evacuate the area immediately and leave the building through the nearest exit in English and Portuguese. Everybody begins to leave except Tristan and Scarlett. They continue to kiss. We don't know if Tristan owns the resort or has a connection. Nevertheless, he tells Scarlett he got everything under control. They continue to kiss. EXT Rio Restaurant and Resort, Beach. Tristan sits on the sofa. They all have left the place. Scarlett is in the middle of setting up music with a laptop. We see 5 big speakers nearby. Scarlett then plays Don't Cha by the Pussycat Dolls featuring Busta Rhymes and begins to strip while singing Don't Cha with Pussycat Dolls. She then begins to remove her clothes one by one while dancing exotically. Tristan likes what he is looking at. Scarlett leaves nothing for imagination, dancing as if she were born to strip. It's energetic. She removes all of her clothes except her underwear and gets close to Tristan and continue to dance exotically. Tristan is having the time of his life. Then Tito and Tarantula Back to the House plays replacing Don't Cha. Scarlett is lost deep in her soul with sensuality, dancing as if she were injected with a love potion. Tristan can't help but fall head over heels in love with her. There is a bottle of whiskey on a table. Scarlett grabs it, opens the top, and pours some in her vagina while dancing exotically. Scarlett then puts the sky on the sand, sits on Tristan's lap facing the opposite direction, and gives him a lap dance. Meanwhile, she takes his hands and places them on her breasts as if she were telling him to feel her breasts sensually. He gets it right away and touches her breasts sexually while fondling her body as she continues to give him lap dance. Yet Scarlett has an idea. She gets up, grabs the whiskey, returns to Tristan and continues to give him lap dance. However, Scarlett wants to spice it up. She pours the whiskey on her breasts as Tristan continues to massage them sensually. Scarlett then pours the entire whiskey in her vagina, throws the bottle away, takes Tristan's hand and places it in her underwear as if she were telling him to stimulate her clitoris. He does it naturally. Scarlett must have a super sensitive clitoris. She gets weak down to her knees and lies flat on his chest with sweet orgasm, while breathing heavy. They kiss French as he continues to finger her while stimulating her clitoris. Scarlett is having one major orgasm after another. She couldn't take it anymore, gets up, removes her underwear, sits on his lap, facing him. Tristan sucks her nipples and caresses her necks. They kiss French for long seconds as if their lips and tongues were made with fever, lust, craving, wines, and honeys in their hearts and souls. Then on the soundtrack, After Dark by Tito and Tarantula plays soulfully. Scarlett parts her lips. Scarlett, make love to me on the shore. They kiss intimately. Tristan then picks her up and takes her to the shore, joining lips to lips. He then puts her on the wet sand just outside the ocean. They kiss more passionately. They drop down on the shore and continue to kiss passionately as the waves crashes on the bodies. Tristan then removes his clothes nude, gets between Scarlett's legs, kisses her lips sweetly, and enters her as they begin to make love. Tristan caresses her neck as he continues to enter her deliciously with steady speed. They kiss with tongues as the waves continues to crash on their bodies. Scarlett slaps his butt to let him know to increase the speed. Tristan gets it right away once again and enters her with amazing speed enchantingly. Yet, he makes sure she gets full penetration. Scarlett is steaming with pleasure, scratches his waist with her nails as she reaches deep intense orgasms. Scarlett then gets on top and begins to ride cowgirl style. On the soundtrack, After Dark continues to play. Int. Rio Hotel and Resort, bedroom, night. Tristan and Scarlett continue to make love with After Dark, giving new definitions to the principles of passion, desire, and pleasure. It's steamy, alluring, romantic, and passionate. Note, we stay with Tristan and Scarlett as they go at it with various sexual positions. EXT Violet and Antonio's Villa, Wedding Chapel, Day. A small wedding is in progress next to the ocean. Antonio stands at the chapel waiting for the bride. Tristan stands next to him. He is the best man. Scarlett, wearing a beautiful pink dress, stands across her lover. She is a bridesmaid. There are about 50 guests, friends, acquaintances, families, and relatives. Violet walks up to the chapel escorted by her Uncle George. She has cut her wedding dress like she said. It looks like a mini skirt. Everybody is taken by her appearance. Is she walking on a catwalk for the dress that she designed? Or are she going to get married on Moon? We can blame them. She looks suggestive. Antonio takes her hand and stands in front of the priest. Priest, we are gathered here in the presence of these witnesses to join this man and this woman together in matrimony. The contract is a most solemn one and not to be entered into lightly. Scarlett looks at Tristan. He catches her eyes. She gives him a soft beautiful smile, turns her eyes coyishly, and looks at Violet and Antonio. Down by the chapel, we see Cassandra sitting at the front row. Johnny is present as well. He is sitting at the groom's side in the back, spying on Tristan. Priest, but thoughtfully and seriously with deep realization of its obligations and responsibilities. EXT Violet and Antonio's villa, wedding reception, day. Violet and Antonio dance slow in the middle of the crowd. On the soundtrack, a samba song plays softly. Tristan and Cassandra are dancing next to Violet and Antonio. Some of the guests stand with champagnes while conversing in the background. Scarlett, who is standing alone with a glass of champagne, looks at Tristan and Cassandra, and feels a little bit jealous. Close up, Tristan and Cassandra. They talk while dancing. Cassandra, why do I feel like we are growing apart? You are not the same person you were 3 weeks ago. Tristan, under his breath, what do you mean? Cassandra, do you love me? Pause. Tristan looks at her eyes fondly. Tristan, more than life itself. Cassandra and Tristan exchange soft kisses. Tristan turns his eyes and looks at Scarlett. Scarlett, who has been checking Tristan out, turns her eyes, and moves aside. Out of nowhere comes Johnny and stands next to Scarlett. Johnny, have I seen you somewhere by any chance? You look familiar. Scarlett looks at him as if she were saying, who is he? Johnny, hi. He gives her his hand to shake. She takes his hand, greeting. Scarlett, hi. Johnny, I am John Peterson, University of Miami at the Department of Anthropology. I did my PhD on the study onto Namba and cannibalism, worked with Professor Edward. I must have seen you there a couple of occasions if I am not mistaken. Scarlett, maybe. I am not good with faces. Johnny, anyway, what are you doing in Rio? Scarlett, working on my master. Johnny, let me guess. Samba and its concept of sexuality. Scarlett, surprised something like that. Johnny, how it's intended to lure the opposite sex into carnal temptation in the subconscious mind. Am I wrong? Scarlett, no. It seems you know everything. Johnny, I did a little bit background check. Scarlett, what background check? Johnny, I talked to few people who know you. And talking about dance and culture, I have always believed that all forms of dances and culture rituals are designed to seduce men and women into carnal knowledge, and rejoice life at the end of the day, except cannibalism. The Tupi people were unforgiving. They used to eat their enemy to absorb their strength. Scarlett, that sounds terrifying. But you're not really an anthropologist. Johnny, I am an employee of the government of United States of America. I work for CIA currently. I am in the middle of helping the government of Brazil to bring drug traffickers into justice. You're in serious trouble. If you don't want to be the subject of international drug investigation, I would suggest you had better stay away from Mr. Vincent. We have seen you with him a couple of occasions. He's a drug dealer, smuggles cocaine to the state hidden in coffee beans. Here, takes out a card. If you have any question, feel free to contact me. Johnny gives her the card. Scarlett takes the card. Johnny walks away. Scarlett looks at Tristan, who is standing with Cassandra at the other end of the chapel. Pan 2, Cassandra and Tristan. They stand holding glasses of champagne. A man named Gary, 32, walks up to them. Gary, is that you, Cassandra? Cassandra, hi. Gary, hi. Gary and Cassandra hug and kiss on the cheeks. Cassandra, what's up? Gary, nothing much. Cassandra, I thought you moved to Paris. What are you doing here? Gary, I moved back. Rio is more exciting than Paris. Gary looks at Tristan. Cassandra, Tristan, this is Gary. To Gary. Tristan. Gary, hi. Gary gives Tristan his hand to shake. Tristan, hi. Tristan takes his hand. They shake hands, greeting. Cassandra, Gray and I met at the World Music Award show in Sao Paulo, and performed together at Royal Chapel in London. And about 6 months ago, I ran into him here in Rio at a fashion show. He told me he's leaving Rio to Paris. But it seems he changed his mind. Gary, I missed Rio. Tristan turns his eyes and catches Scarlett's eyes. Close up, Scarlett. She looks Tristan, turns her eyes, and takes a sip from her champagne. Back to Tristan, Cassandra, and Gary. Cassandra, so, are you here with the bride? Gary, I met her at a fashion show in Paris. I was starting a new fashion line with Leonardo Black. She was modeling for him and ended up inviting me to her wedding. Tristan continues to check Scarlett out. Tristan, Excuse me. Tristan gives Cassandra a kiss on the cheek. Tristan, I will be back. To Gary, nice to meet you. Gary, nice to meet you. Tristan walks towards Scarlett. Scarlett looks at him. Tristan comes up to her. Tristan, dance. Tristan gives Scarlett his hand. She puts her drink aside and takes his hand. They come to the dance floor and begin to dance slow. Tristan, who was that man you were talking to? Scarlett, why, were you jealous? Tristan, humorously, yes, I was. Scarlett, he works for CIA, told me you are a drug dealer. Tristan, did you believe him? Scarlett, I didn't want to believe him. And then again, I don't really know you, except you are rich and dating a pop star. And I have one of the most generous boyfriends who calls me every day and tells me how much he loves and misses me. And neither he nor she knows we are having an affair. It feels wrong. There is a silent moment. They continue to dance, lips to lips as if they wanted to kiss. He then. Tristan, softly by her lips, I won't let anything comes between us. There is a silent moment. She then. Scarlett, tell me something I don't know. Give me a compliment. It had better be poetic, naughty, and romantic. Tristan, I will give it a shot. Let me say what I want to say. Not only do I think about you Monday through Sunday, but also dream about you night and day. I even go to church and pray. Whenever I see the morning sun on a lake, moonlight on a sea, and the twilight on a bay. I find you the bottom of my heart before I whisper what I want to say, and each gram of my soul produces light that gives new meaning to beams and ray. I might as well add a little bit humor to the art of seduction, and avoid anything that causes misunderstanding, unhappiness, and gloom. Thou art like a rose that once upon a time a princess bride in a fairy tale wished to be when she thought about kissing a groom, and touched herself in sensuality while she was alone in the room. And even though you have come into full beauty, glamour, and flourish, you continue to bloom. A scent of a woman that revives my heart sweeter than perfume. Something in me wants to make love to you better than all the romantic films shot in close-up and zoom, till my heart explodes inside my body, and everything in excitement goes boom. She smiles in beauty. Scarlett, that's seductive. Tristan, I had my moment. They continue to dance silently. Then on the soundtrack, Bob Marley's Is This Love plays soulfully. EXT Ocean, Tristan's boat, moving, day. Tristan and Scarlett sail in the middle of the ocean while talking between soft kisses. She tells him something humorous. He says something romantic. We don't hear what they say due to Is This Love on the soundtrack. She throws her arms around his neck. She tells him something sweet. He tells her something romantic. She smiles in beauty. They kiss intimately. Int. Ocean, Tristan's boat, kitchen, later. Scarlett and Tristan are in the middle of cooking seafood, lobsters, pasta, rice, and salmon. Tristan says something romantic. She smiles sweetly and says something humorous. We don't hear what they say due to the music on the soundtrack. Tristan then takes the lobster and tries to scare her, bringing the lobster close to her face. They are having their Annie Hall moment, right out of Woody Allen's textbook. Scarlett screams and walks away, laughing. Tristan smiles at her softly. She tells him to put it down. He puts it in the stove, and apologizes to her romantically. They get closer and make up with kisses. EXT Ocean, Tristan's boat, deck, day. A candle. A rose in a vase. Scarlett, wearing a beautiful dress, and Tristan sit at the dinner table enjoying lobsters and salmons with a bottle of red wine. On the soundtrack, UB40's Falling in Love with You comes replacing Bob Marley's Is This Love. There is a silent moment. Scarlett takes a sip and puts her glass on the table. She then. Scarlett, is it true? Tristan, under his breath, what is it? Scarlett, are you a drug dealer? Tristan, no, I am not. Just a businessman who happened to associate with wrong people. Scarlett, what do you mean? Tristan, it's a long story. I don't usually like to discuss business with someone I love and adore with all my heart and soul. Scarlett, what am I supposed to do? A man walked up to me and said he's a CIA, and the man that I am with is a drug dealer. He smuggles drugs into the United States hidden in coffee beans. Should I pay no attention, but be paranoid about it, or act as if it were not a big deal? Tristan, softly, if I tell you that I am not a drug dealer, can we talk about something else? They gaze at each other's eyes silently for a long second. She then grabs her drink, takes a sip, looks at his eyes tenderly, and gives him a soft beautiful smile. On the soundtrack, UB40's Falling in Love with You continues to play melodiously. Tristan gives her his hand. She takes his hand. They get up, come to the open floor, and begin to dance slow. Close up, Tristan and Scarlett. Dancing. Scarlett, something tells me this is all wrong. I am not supposed to fall in love with a man that I barely know. Tristan, what would you like to know about me? Scarlett, I'd like to know if you use a love potion, or went to a witch and had me under a magic power. Or did you just put me under spell with your beautiful eyes? He smiles at her softly. Tristan, softly down by her lips, I've got you under my skin, deep in my heart where no spell has ever been. She smiles in beauty. They kiss French. Int. Ocean, Tristan's boat, bedroom, night. Tristan and Scarlett make love. It's steamy, sensual, and passionate. We stay with them with series cuts as they go at it with various sexual positions. EXT Ocean, Tristan's boat, deck, bathtub, night. Tristan and Scarlett sit in the bathtub that is placed on the deck in the middle of the ocean. It's surrounded by candles. She rests on his chest, he is behind, planting soft kisses on her neck. Scarlett, do you believe in karma? Tristan, what is karma? Scarlett, the rebirth of a soul in a single lifetime. They exchange soft kisses. Scarlett, does your girlfriend know that we are having an affair? Tristan, no. They exchange soft kisses. Scarlett, are you going to tell her? Tristan, should I? Scarlett, are you planning to keep this as a secret forever? They exchange soft kisses. Tristan, humorously, I don't want to break her heart. I am not good at it. Scarlett, what does that mean? Tristan, I'll tell her when the time is right. They kiss a little longer and part their lips. Tristan, what about you, have your heart been broken? How many hearts did you break? Scarlett, I think I broke a lot of guys' hearts when I was in high school, not because it's on purpose but because I was selfish. However, when I was sophomore in college I had my heart broken for the first time. And it really hurts. They exchange soft kisses. Tristan, you're not planning to tell him, are you? Scarlett, I'll tell him when the time is right. He smiles softly. They kiss longer and part their lips. Scarlett, under her breath, promise me you won't break my heart. Tristan, softly down by her lips, I promise I won't stop loving you. She smiles in beauty. They kiss French. On the soundtrack, music plays melodiously. Int. Tristan's convertible, moving, day. Tristan and Scarlett drive in the street of Rio. Scarlett is pretending to be sleeping. Her eyes are closed in beauty. Tristan looks at her and couldn't believe how beautiful she is. Scarlett opens her eyes and gives him a gorgeous smile. Tristan smiles at her softly. He turns his focuses back on the street. Then out of nowhere come 5 police military SUV trucks behind Tristan's convertible. 2 of the trucks pass Tristan's convertible and block the street. Tristan steps on the brake and stops the car. Scarlett doesn't know what's happening. Scarlett, what's going on? Tristan, it's okay. They are not going to hurt you. 4 officers in uniform step out the first 2 SUV trucks with machine guns and walk to Tristan and Scarlett. Tristan holds his hands up in surrender. Officer 1, to Tristan in Portuguese, you are under arrest for drug trafficking. Please step out the car. 4 more officers get out of their SUV trucks and surround Tristan's convertible, pointing their machine guns at Tristan and Scarlett. Officer 2 opens Tristan's convertible, and takes Tristan out of the car. Officer 4 opens Scarlett's door, and pulls Scarlett out of the car. In the meantime, the others get set to fire if either Tristan or Scarlett makes a wrong move. The officers then cuff both Tristan and Scarlett, put them in 2 separate SUV trucks and drive away. Int. Police station, interrogation room, day. Tristan sits at a table. 2 Secret Service men stand at the door. Johnny walks in with a file. Johnny, good afternoon. Tristan doesn't answer. Johnny sits in front of Tristan. Johnny, my name is John. I am with Central Intelligence Agency. We are working with the government of Brazil Drug Enforcement Agency, a joint force to bring serious narcotic traffickers into justice. A couple of weeks ago, we seized 300 kilos genetic engineer cocaine worth about $280 million in the street market hidden in coffee beans in Miami, Rio Coffee, the same coffee that you export to the United States. No respond. Johnny, Mr. Vincent. We are every reason to believe that you're aware of what's going on. In fact, you are spotted with Carlos, one of the leading narcotic traffickers in South America, in several occasions. Johnny takes out photos of Tristan and Carlos at Tristan's coffee plantation from his file and puts them in front of Tristan. Johnny, but I assume you are just a businessman whom Carlos exploits using your coffee business as a decoy to smuggle cocaine into the United States while you're having fun with your new American girlfriend, a graduate student from the University of Miami. Johnny puts photos of Tristan and Scarlett on the table. Johnny, I am planning to keep her here in Rio until I get what I want from you. No respond. Johnny, you have to understand one thing, Mr. Vincent. We lost a man who was working for the government of USA. He was found shot in the head. This isn't only about violation of the Uniform Controlled Substances, but you can also be charged with accessory to murder. Or we'll just charge you with first-degree murder. It depends on how you are going to work with us. However, if you refuse to help us, the government of Brazil will extradite you to USA. You'll spend the rest of your life in federal prison without possible parole. No respond. Johnny, this is what I want you to do. I want you to give us Carlos by any means necessary. We will drop all the possible charge against you. Pause. Johnny looks at Tristan straight through his eyes. Johnny, what's going to be? Tristan, may I have a cigarette? Johnny nods to the first Secret Service. The first Secret Service takes out a cigarette, and gives Tristan the cigarette. Johnny lights the cigarette for Tristan. Tristan takes a long cool drag and exhales out the smoke with style. Tristan, you can repeat what you just said in Portuguese. I haven't spoken fluent English for a while. It sounds like a love story. And if you're going to charge me with that fairy tale, go ahead, and do so. I have the best lawyer money can buy. I'll sue the government of USA $100 billion for violating my civil rights. You will be picking up coffee beans in my new coffee plantation in Uganda. Johnny and Tristan gaze at each other's eyes for a long second. Johnny, fine. Soon or later, You will find out that I am doing you a favor, Mr. Vincent. If you walk out from this building, they will kill you. They will kill her. They will kill everyone you love and care about. Carlos knows you are talking to us as we speak. Just to let you know you're a dead man walking. Int. Jail, Scarlett and other female inmates cell, night. Scarlett sits on a bench, sharing the cell with other female inmates. Most of them are hardcore criminals and prostitutes. A beautiful young inmate named Sophia, who happens to be sitting next to Scarlett, tells them a story in Portuguese. Sophia, in Portuguese, I was standing at the Copacabana Piazza shop. A man came driving a black Mercedes. He told me to get in the car. I got in. He then said he wanted to have sex, and asked me how much it would cost him. I told him 600 pesos for 1 hour. Scarlett turns her eyes and looks at a British inmate named Emily, 29, who is sitting at the other side of the bench and checking her out with curiosity. Emily turns her eyes and looks at a different direction. Scarlett turns her eyes and catches Marta's eyes. Marta, a thug-looking girl, is checking Scarlett out as well. Scarlett quickly turns her attention back to the story and continues to listen to Sophia. Sophia, in Portuguese, he took out 3,000 pesos and said, "My wife is sleeping with another man. I am a doctor. I don't usually have sex with a prostitute, but you're an extremely attractive girl." He gave me the money. We then fucked all night at Marriott Hotel. 3 days later, he returned and asked me to marry him. He is divorcing his wife. A female inmate, in Portuguese, what did you say to him? Sophia, in Portuguese, I told him I couldn't marry him. Dino, my pimp, would kill me. He is sort of my boyfriend. He always beats me for no apparent reason. That night I spent with him, Dino found about it, punched me on the face, and broke my nose. Later, the man returned, gave me these pills that were supposed to put people to sleep, and told me to place the pills in Dino's drink. And when Dino would fall asleep, to get my stuff, and leave. He would wait for me at the Golden Tulip Continental Hotel. Dino came to collect the money that I made. I placed the pills in his drink. And, as soon as he fell into sleep, I took all his money and ran away. The next day, the police found him dead. They all react to the story in shock. Female inmate 2, what happened? Why did he die if they were sleeping pills? Sophia, the pills that he gave me were poisons. They weren't sleeping pills. I told the police the truth, but refused to believe me. Female inmate 3, that's tough break. Marta looks at Scarlett. Marta, in Portuguese, what about you? Why are you here? Female inmate 3, in Portuguese, she is America. She can't speak Portuguese. A prostitute named Juliana walks to the circle. Juliana, in Portuguese, I know English. To Scarlett, in broken English, what's your name? Scarlett glances at Emily, who is checking her out, turns her eyes, looks at Juliana in the eyes, and says nothing. Juliana, let me guess. Your name is Mary. To her friends in Portuguese, her name is Mary. She is the mother of Jesus Christ who died for our sin. They all laugh. Juliana, in Portuguese, Mary, pray for me. Ask forgiveness from our Savior Jesus Christ. I have slept with a lot of men. I don't want to go to hell and burn for eternity. They laugh more. Then a female prison guard and 2 male prison officers come to the cell. The female prison guard opens the gate. Female guard, Scarlett Hewitt. Scarlett gets up. Female guard, in Portuguese, come with me. Scarlett exits, and follows the female guard, trialed by the 2 male guards, to the interrogation room. Int. Police Station, Interrogation Room 2, night. A Brazilian officer named Julio Caesar sits at a table. Johnny is present, standing and looking at a file. Scarlett enters, escorted by the female guard. The female guard steps outside. Caesar, have a seat. Scarlett takes a seat. Caesar, you are being charged by both the state of Rio de Janeiro and USA federal government for crimes including drug trafficking, and possession with intent to sell. Do you have anything to say? Scarlett, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm here for study. I'm going back to the state as soon as I clear this nonsense. Johnny, Miss Hewitt, it doesn't concern us if you are here to save the Amazon. You are spotted with Mr. Vincent, an alleged drug dealer. We saw you with him in several occasions. I know you have a boyfriend in America. He doesn't know you are having an affair. He thinks life is wonderful, cannot wait to see you. God bless his heart. He is dying to welcome you with open arms. However, if he finds out you are cheating, he is going to be very disappointed on you. He might just lose it, break down, and cry like a baby. You probably don't give a fuck about him. You just want to have fun. I won't judge you. There is nothing wrong with fooling around. Cyndi Lauper said, girls just want to have fun. They hate responsibility. And word around the campfire is Mr. Vincent is doing you sweet justice. He makes you cry like a teenager, who lost her virginity to Count Dracula. Takes out pictures of Tristan and Scarlett from his file and puts them in front of her. Nonetheless, we believe he's a major player behind Carlos Drug Cartel, a criminal organization that runs drug trafficking operations, smuggling cocaine into the United States concealed in coffee beans. Pause. Scarlett looks at the pictures as if she were saying, I don't know what you are talking about. Johnny, we believe you can help us bringing Mr. Vincent into justice. Humorously, an eye for an eye. Scarlett chooses not to say anything. Johnny, I want you think about it, Miss Hewitt. This is not a college project that you write thesis about. It's a classified case. If you think this is a game, you'll spend the rest of your life behind bars. Pause. Scarlett doesn't respond. Johnny, are you going to help us? Scarlett, I want to speak to the U.S. counselor. I am innocent. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't commit any crime. I am not going to answer any question without a lawyer. Johnny, such yourself. You can make this easy on you. All you have to do is help us. Mr. Vincent must come before a court for trial and receive punishment for his crime. We are counting it on you. Don't let us down. Or we will charge you for narcotic trafficking as well as murder. You violated the law. Drug trafficking in Latin America is a serious offense. They take it personal. I know you do not want to spend the rest of your life in prison. I will give you time to think about it. Johnny looks at her. Scarlett says nothing. Int. Jail, Scarlett and other female inmates cell, night. The same female guard escorts Scarlett back to the jail cell. Scarlett enters in ease. The female guard closes the door and walks away in the background. Scarlett looks for an open seat. All seats are taken. Emily looks at her and moves aside, making space. Emily, you can sit here. Scarlett sits next to Emily. Scarlett, thanks. Emily, you welcome. Emily, I'm Emily. Scarlett, Scarlett. Emily, nice to meet you. Scarlett, nice to meet you. Scarlett looks at the inmates. They all are looking at her. She turns her eyes and looks at the direction of the camera, lost and confused. On the soundtrack, samba music plays melodiously. Int. Jail, Scarlett and other female inmates cell, night. The inmates are dancing samba, forming a circle. Marta has a stereo. Samba music is playing. Scarlett stands on the side, looking at them in wonder. Emily then comes up to Scarlett. Emily, come on. Emily takes Scarlett's hand and pulls her to the dance circle. Scarlett resists without putting too much fight. Scarlett, no. I'm okay. Emily enters the circle, holding Scarlett, who is blushing, a little bit embarrassed. Emily begins to dance without restrictions. Scarlett stands covering her face with her hands to overcome her fear. Emily, just dance, as if it were your birthday. Don't think about it. Scarlett dances freely as if it were her birthday and forgets about her trouble for a moment. However, her heart is tormenting her. She can't wait to see Tristan's eyes. Scarlett walks aside, leaving Emily in the spotlight. Emily dances more and gets replaced by two inmates, Rosanna and Michelle. They dance like they have been dancing samba even since they learned how to walk. Scarlett looks at them and smiles with admiration. Int. Jail, Scarlett and other female inmates cell, later. Emily and Scarlett sit and talk. Emily, I was born in London but I grew up in Manchester. My father is French and Irish origin. And my mother is Scottish and Italian descendant. I guess you can say I am a European melting pot. I met my husband Robinho Santos, a Brazilian football player 9 years ago in Paris. I was there studying language. He was there playing professional football for Paris Saint-Germain. We met at a sport bar across the Eiffel Tower. Even though, I didn't understand a word what he was saying. I couldn't help falling in love with him. He then got transferred to Milan. I moved with him. We get married in Tuscany. I gave birth to a boy, Felix. He is 6 now. Later, they traded Robinho to Ajax Amsterdam. We spent 2 years in Amsterdam. He got injured. They let him go. We came to Rio. He played a year for Flamengo and retired due to the injury he suffered early in his career. I was faithful to him the whole time. But that didn't necessarily mean he was loyal to me at all. I knew he was sleeping with a lot of girls. He was an athlete like all other athletes who can't keep their libido in check. In Amsterdam, Robinho and 3 of his teammates were charged for sexual assault. A 17-year-old girl sued them for gang rape. But he denied any involvement. His teammate and he ended up settling the case outside the court. Robinho paid more than half of his salary to the girl and for lawyer fee that year. It was one of the most painful times that I had to go through. Later, here in Rio, I caught him fucking my half-sister. She just turned 16, came to Rio from Australia to live with me. That was the final straw. I took his gun from his closet and shot him in the dick. They took him to hospital. He is now in life support. They charged me for attempted murder. I think that pretty much sums up our relationship. Perhaps, you can say it's the story of my life. Scarlett, I am sorry to hear that. Emily, I'm still waiting to hear from my lawyer. I have been here for 3 days. Scarlett, that's sad. Emily, what about you, what brought you here? Scarlett, it's nothing. For allegedly having a lot of fun instead of doing what I was supposed to do. Emily looks at her what? Scarlett, off Emily's look I came to Rio 5 weeks ago to do my master on samba. And met a man whom I thought handsome and extremely romantic. One thing led to another. We spent quality times together. And when I thought life couldn't possibly be more exciting than it was. They stopped us in the middle of the road for supposedly drug trafficking. They put us into 2 separate trucks. I don't know where they took him. They brought me here and told me if I didn't help them, they'll persecute me for a crime that I didn't commit, except falling in love with a man that I shouldn't have. On the soundtrack, music plays melodiously. They continue to talk without a sound. Int. Police station, Tristan's cell, night. Tristan is alone, lies on the bed with his eyes opened and his hands behind his head, thinking about Scarlett. Int. Police station, Scarlett and other female inmates cell, night. Scarlett sits on the floor next to Emily who is sleeping. In fact, all the inmates are sleeping. Scarlett is the only one who is awake. She is thinking about Tristan. Flashback, Scarlett's thought. Scarlett see Tristan for the first time at the party. Scarlett and Tristan visit the statue of Christ the Redeemer. Scarlett and Tristan walk in the beach, etc. EXT police station, prison, day. Violet, who is smoking cigarette, stands next to her jeep parked across the prison. Scarlett exits from the police station prison. Violet throws her cigarette and walks up to Scarlett. Scarlett approaches Violet. Scarlett and Violet cuddle affectionately. Violet, I am sorry. Scarlett's eyes are filled with tears. She tries to stop herself from crying. But as soon as she blinks her eyes, tears escape from her eyes and fall by her cheeks. Violet, are you okay? Scarlett, I'm fine. Scarlett is not sad. She is just emotional. Violet cuddles her and kisses her on the cheek. Violet, come on. I'll take you home. Scarlett and Violet get in the car. Violet starts the car and drive away. Int. Jeep, moving, day. Violet and Scarlett continue to drive in the street of Rio. They are silent. A medium shot of Violet's Jeep driving with Violet and Scarlett. Int. Scarlett's condominium, day. Scarlett and Violet open the door from the outside and enter. They find the condominium has been burglarized. Violet, what happened? Scarlett comes up to the mirror drawer. It's broken. Nonetheless, she opens the drawer and looks for her passport. It's gone. Scarlett, they took my passport. Violet, don't worry about it. You can apply for a lost passport at the US Embassy here in Rio. They will give you a new passport. Scarlett, it's depressing. There is no law in this country. Int. US Embassy, lobby, day. Scarlett sits at the lobby, waiting for the counselor while talking to Justin on her cell phone. Scarlett, on the phone I am at the embassy waiting for the counselor. I am leaving Rio as soon as they give me a new passport. I'm sick of it. Pause, listening. Scarlett, you don't have to come. I got everything under control. Pause, listening. Scarlett, it's okay. The counselor Robert Jones, 39, comes up to the waiting lobby. Robert, Scarlett Hewitt. Scarlett, on the phone they called my name. I'll talk to you, bye. Scarlett hangs up her cell phone, and gets up. Robert walks up to Scarlett. Robert, hi. I am Robert Jones. Robert gives her his hand to shake. She takes his hand. Scarlett, hi. Robert, come in. Robert escorts her to his office. Int. US Embassy, Robert's office, day. Scarlett and Robert enter. Robert, have a seat. Scarlett sits at the Robert's desk. Robert takes his seat. Robert, how did you lose your passport? Scarlett, someone broke into my apartment and stole it. Robert's phone rings. Robert, excuse me. Robert picks up the phone and listens to what the person at the other end has to say. Robert looks at Scarlett as if she did something wrong. Scarlett looks at him suspiciously, why he is looking at me like that? Robert, on the phone sure. He hangs up the phone. Robert, I'm sorry, Miss Hewitt. We have to deny your request for a new passport. I just got informed you are being charged with drug trafficking violation by the federal government. Scarlett, I was about to tell you what actually happened. You see, I was falsely accused. It's a big misunderstanding. Robert gets up from his seat. Robert, I apologize for not being helpful. I can't issue you a new passport till you straighten out that. Scarlett gets up from her seat. Robert opens the door. In the meantime, we see Johnny at the lobby walking toward Robert's office. Scarlett look at Johnny. Johnny comes up to Scarlett and Robert. Johnny, good afternoon. Robert, good afternoon. They shake hands. Robert, to Scarlett this is Johnny with CIA, to Johnny. Miss Hewitt. Johnny, we have met. He gives her his hand to shake. Scarlett ignores him. Johnny, to Robert leave us for a couple of minutes. Robert nods his head sure, and walks out of the office. Johnny walks into Robert's office and stands next to the door. Johnny, to Scarlett have a seat. I'd like to have few words with you. Scarlett returns to her seat. Johnny closes the door and takes Robert's seat. Johnny, it's unfortunate that you lost your passport. Anybody can tell you it's impossible to travel anywhere without a passport, like a romantic getaway to Armacao dos Buzios with Mr. Vincent here in Rio de Janeiro, or returning to the United States with a couple of memorable photos, to join your boyfriend. But if I were you, leaving this place with memories would be the last thing I'd be worrying about. You are under Central Intelligence Agency and federal government investigation for a serious drug trafficking violation. It's not cookies in a jar. You are looking at life behind bars without a possible parole. But I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. I want you to help me. You are going to wear a wire and give me Mr. Vincent. That's my final offer. Take it or leave it, or I'll make sure you remain in Brazil indefinitely. You will get no entry to USA. Scarlett looks at him for about 3 seconds. Scarlett, go fuck yourself. She gets up, opens the door, steps out, and slams the door hard. Int. U.S. Embassy, lobby, day. Close up, Scarlett. She walks towards the camera, pissed off. Int. Beach, sunset. Scarlett sits in the beach looking at the ocean. On the soundtrack, The Girl from Ipanema by Antonio Carlos Jobim plays melodiously. Then out of nowhere comes Tristan with a rose and stands next to her. She looks at him and smiles softly. She then taps the sand with her hand, asking him to sit next to her. Tristan sits on the sand next to her. There is a silent moment. They watch the ocean. She then. Scarlett, I thought I'd never see you again. Tristan, softly, where would I be without my heart? Scarlett smiles softly. There is a silent moment. Tristan and Scarlett continue to look at the ocean quietly. Scarlett turns her eyes and looks at Tristan. Tristan catches her eyes. They get closer, and kiss French. Scarlett then falls on her back. Tristan inclines with her. They kiss more passionately. They part their lips. Tristan gazes at her eyes lovingly, leaning next to her lips. Scarlett, what are you planning to do? Tristan, I am planning to continue to fall in love with you till I can't take it anymore. He gives her a soft kiss on the lips. Scarlett, why can't you take it anymore? Tristan, it's too sweet but unbearable. My heart is not used to this much beautiful love. He gives her a soft kiss on the lips. Scarlett, convince me. He looks at her eyes softly for a few seconds. He then. Scarlett, gorgeous, simply, honestly, and beautifully, one can't say enough about your beauty, glamour, and sense of presence. The radiance and scintillation in your eyes can't belie they are the ones that gave birth to the stars at the creation, and continue to give bright light, heat, passion, and blaze to hearts and fire. Just the thought of them give me out-of-body experience as if my heart were knotted with a barbed wire. And the moist on your delicious lips invites sacred beams and forbidden light from heavens where angels and saints spend day and night. Whenever I fantasize about kissing your lips in twilight, true love squeezes my heart to the very last drop of blood till my cardiac muscle turns into white. I get weak. My essence drops in my belly and dances with thee in moonlight. Yet, that is just seduction. Even though that's how I feel about falling in love with you, my lips only say that to cause a little bit distraction. As a deduction, or rather, thus, allow my liver to produce glucose that my heart is going to burn during mouth-to-mouth resuscitation as if my lungs were tied up with a string and left float in the air like a kite. Yet consent my soul to remember lips that bite, and forget about everything that is quiet, and love that wounds a heart more lethal than a snake bite, and instead permit my salivary glands to secret fluid that tastes sweeter than Sprite. And then let me kiss your lips more enchanting than love letters that I write. And translate the osculation into French from here to eternity till I get it right, as if love were in the spotlight. Nonetheless, the glow of your face goes beyond love at its best. Every time I think about you, my soul flies like a bird that burns its nest. And it wouldn't come down till it completes its quest. So, beloved, let the morning sun wait. Breeze into my heart's pure lake, where the moon shines like sunset, and the stars fall like snowflake. Let me walk you on the water of heartbeats and make love to you truly till you sweat, and pay your debt. Sweetheart, come see the beautiful reflection of love, my deepest desire up to date. You are really my soulmate, the most spellbinding love beyond fate. She smiles in beauty. He kisses her. She puts her arms around him and kisses him with tongue. Close up, Tristan and Scarlett. They kiss more intimately. Int. Scarlett's condominium, bedroom, night. Scarlett and Tristan make love. It's sensual, seductive, and passionate. We stay with them as they go at it with various sexual positions. Int. Scarlett's condominium, bedroom, later. Tristan and Scarlett are sleeping. She is resting on Tristan's chest without a single drop of cloth, cuddling him. Tristan holds her next to his heart dearly. On the soundtrack, Antonio Carlos Jobim, The Girl from Ipanema continues to play soulfully. We stay with them for a bit. Note. We might change the music during filming, use various songs. It depends on the flow. Int. Scarlett's condominium, bedroom, morning. Scarlett sleeps alone. She opens her eyes and looks for Tristan. He's not with her. He is gone. She gets up from her bed, covering her naked body with the blanket. Scarlett walks toward the living room in confusion. Living room. Scarlett comes to the living room and looks for Tristan at the kitchen. He's not there. She exits through back door that leads to the beach. EXT Scarlett's condominium, beach, day. Scarlett exits and walks toward the beach. She comes to the shore and stands looking at the waves. We stay with her for a while. Then out of nowhere comes Justin and walks up to Scarlett. Scarlett looks at him with tears in her eyes. He comes up to her. They cuddle and kiss. They then part their lips. Justin, are you okay? Scarlett, I'm fine. Justin, I'm sorry you have to go through this. They kiss more intimately, part their lips, and cuddle tenderly. Scarlett cries on Justin's shoulder. Justin, don't worry. I'll take care of it. Scarlett continues to cry on Justin's shoulder. EXT Street Market, day. We see a lot of market activities, people selling and buying goods. Johnny walks through the crowd. EXT Street Market, bar, day. A man named Nicholas Porter, 40, sit at a table, outside sitting area. He is reading a newspaper while drinking beer and smoking a cigarette. Johnny steps into the bar. Nicholas looks at him. Johnny come up to the table, pulls a chair and sit in front of Nicholas. Johnny, what's up? Nicholas, nothing much. Johnny gives a waiter, who happens to be standing nearby, his index finger, a beer. Johnny, in Portuguese give me a cold beer. The waiter nods his head sure. Johnny, to Nicholas, how is life treating you? Nicholas, like Lindsay Lohan. Johnny, I heard you've been speaking to the devil 24/7. Nicholas, they said the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. But they are dead wrong. The devil will let you know that he exists whether you love it, or hate it. However, the greatest trick the devil has ever pulled is convincing you that he is your best friend, and you are confusing him with a good guy. Nicholas removes a magazine, pushes a paper, and places it next to Johnny. Johnny takes the paper and puts it in his pocket. Johnny, I once had an interview with the devil in Paris. He told me he is only interested in those who want to run their own lives without God. I asked him I thought the devil takes away the word of God from people's minds and hearts, so he can watch them have orgy in hell. He says, I have been telling lie all my life. Then nobody believes me when I finally tell the truth. I tried to sympathize with him. Doesn't that piss you off? He said you can always make others feel sorry for your misfortune, but that is one of worst sportsmanship you show as a fallen angel. And then again, none of us are perfect, even God. He added someday we will be friends. But till that day comes, we are enemies. Nicholas, I know what you mean. The devil is like a bitch who just got Brazilian wax on her pussy. You know, no girl will show you the bad side of her face whether she is interested in you or not. The devil is like that. He will never show you his bad side no matter what. And in case if he does, he really cares about you. Johnny, we can't rob the government of Brazil blind. They are smart. You know, we have to throw them off. They think we are doing them a favor. But they don't understand we are here on business for the government of USA. We have to keep things under wraps, deceive them from discovering the truth by using a clever plan. They say, you have to destroy the village to save it. In this case, we have to destroy a small bakery shop to protect our big investment. Nicholas, just keep a low profile. Johnny, cha. Nicholas, agente seue. Johnny get up, begins to walk toward the exit. Then stops in the middle, as the waiter brings his beer on a tray, takes the beer, and drinks almost everything in one breath. Johnny places the beer on the tray, thanks the waiter in Portuguese, takes out 20 pesos, and pays the waiter. Johnny tells him to keep the change and exits the bar. EXT Street Market, day. Johnny carries on walking through the crowd, looks at the paper. It is a map. He takes out his cell phone and makes a call. Johnny, on the phone I got the map. Johnny listens to what the other person on the other end has to say. He then. Johnny, on the phone sure. Johnny hangs up and walks toward the direction of the camera. EXT Cafe, day. Scarlett and Justin sit at a table with a muffin, a croissant, and 2 cups of coffees. Justin, Matt referred me to a man named Richard Hartford, top immigration attorney in Miami. He said he'll come down here and take care of it. They have no right to deny you a new passport regardless you broke the law, or not. You're an American citizen. The embassy should take a full responsibility for the safety of every resident on foreign soils. Scarlett doesn't say anything. She is lost in thoughts. On the soundtrack, samba music plays melodiously. Justin continues to talk without a sound. Int. Cocaine factory, day. We see cocaine being prepared by over 100 employees. EXT jungle, cocaine factory, day. An established shot of a cocaine factory in the middle of the jungle. EXT jungle, day. Johnny looks at the factory through a binocular. Johnny's POV. We see workers loading cocaine in trucks and other drug-related activities. Troops move around, keeping the area safe. Johnny gives instruction over his radio, code. Then. Out of nowhere come a jet and launches 2 launchers. The cocaine factory goes down in flame. Johnny looks at the flame through his binocular and confirms the news over his radio. EXT Maracana Stadium, VIP seat, day. A soccer game between Botafogo and Flamengo is in progress. Carlos sits at the VIP with Marcio Braga, the president of Flamengo, watching the game. 2 bodyguards stand behind Carlos making sure he's safe. Carlos, dating back in time, they were gladiators who entertained audiences in Roman Empire by means of violent with other wild animals and condemned criminals. They were celebrated in art, and their value as entertainers was honored in expensive objects throughout the Roman world. But now football changed everything. It changed how we see competition at the highest level. It bred players like Pelé, Diego Maradona, Messi, and Ronaldo and gave us the beautiful game and the greatest entertainment on earth that we come to love, and can't stop the feeling of joy when the ball finds the net. Marcio, the team is not for sale. I'll give you 46% of the share out of respect. The city of Rio and major corporations that invest fortunes on the team are counting on me to take this franchise at the right direction. You just can't buy out a team as if it were a department store. Carlos, I'm not here to buy you out, or remove you from your responsibilities. You're still in charge of making decision, except how the profit is divided. I will get 90% of the ownership. The city will get 10%. I am not here to make profit. As a matter of fact, I am losing a lot of money. It has nothing to do with profit. I love Flamingo. It's my team. I grew up supporting them. The team produced world-class football players like Zico, Garrincha, Romario, Ronaldinho, Socrates, and others. I want the team to be successful like Manchester United, Barcelona, AC Milan, and Real Madrid, and compete in the international level. I am willing to spend billions out of my pocket to make the team the best in the solar system. We have already talked about it. I'm told you're a man of your word. Don't let me down at the last minutes. Marcio leans back and watches the game. Pan 2, the game. The ball is on Flamengo's number 10 feet. He dribbles 2 Botafogo players and passes the ball to number 8 who beats the offside trap. Flamengo number 8 receives the ball, dribbles the goalkeeper, and places the ball in the net easily. The audiences celebrate with joy. Carlos and Marcio get up and clap their hands in celebration. The Flamengo players celebrate the goal and get back to their half court. Carlos and Marcio take their seats back. Marcio, I'll see what the board members have to say about the arrangement. The city owns 38% of the share. And it's up to me to keep them informed any change that the franchise takes. Carlos, sooner or later, the city will come to understanding with the term free enterprise and capitalism. Leave the city to me. I will make them an offer they can't refuse. There is a silent moment. They both continue to watch the game. Then one of his bodyguards, Bodyguard 3, comes up to Carlos and whispers something in his ear. Carlos nods his head. Bodyguard 3 walks aside and gives a nod to Bodyguard 4 who is standing at the security check in front of Tristan. Bodyguard 4 lets Tristan pass. Tristan walks up to Carlos. Carlos, sitting hola. Tristan, hola. They shake hands, greeting. Carlos, this is Mr. Marcio Braga, the president of Flamingo. Mr. Vincent. Marcio, how do you do? Marcio Braga gets up and gives Tristan his hand to shake. Tristan, hi. Tristan takes his hand. They shake, greeting. Marcio, to Carlos, I should be going. I'll talk with the board and let you know where they stand about the deal. Carlos, do what you think is right. Marcio, in Portuguese, bye. Carlos, in Portuguese, take care. Marcio nods bye to Tristan and walks away. There is a silent moment. Carlos watches the game quietly for a little bit. He then. Carlos, to Tristan, I'm thinking about buying Flamingo. I mean, I already purchased the team 50% share. I am pushing to 90. Then 100. You want a piece of the action? I will give you 3% out of gratitude. Tristan, thanks. But no thanks. I'm American. I don't know anything about soccer. Carlos, I forget you're a Yankee. You grew up watching American football. I love to watch it occasionally. But I don't understand why they call it football. They throw the ball with their hands, catch it and run like bulls. That's about it. They don't have to think. It lacks beauty, finesse, and athleticism, and doesn't require a lot of skill like soccer, but brutality. Tristan says nothing. There is a silent moment. They watch the soccer a little bit. Carlos, you didn't play America football, did you? Tristan, I played tennis. Carlos, tennis is gentleman's sport. I can't say negative things about it. There is a silent moment. They watch the game for a bit. Carlos, anyway, I heard you got arrested a couple of days ago. What is it about? Tristan, it's a routine. They want to know if I am breaking the law. Not a big deal. Carlos, what did you tell them? Tristan, I told them to get vaccine. I have the best lawyer that money can buy. They'll be packing DDT and collecting dead insects in Amazon after I sue them. Pause. Carlos watches the game. Carlos then. Carlos, I heard you were questioned by a CIA this time. Tristan, they just wanted to know if I am doing illegal things without getting caught. Carlos, let me clarify it, smuggling cocaine to the USA hidden in coffee beans. Is that correct? Tristan, absolutely. But once Francis Bacon said, lies are sufficient to breed opinion, and opinion brings on substance. I think he meant if you must tell a lie that would get you out of trouble. I told them what they wanted to hear. I am only a businessman. I don't know anything about cocaine. Carlos, quoting Psalm 27:12, do not deliver me over to the desire of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and such as breathe out violence. You don't read Bible, do you, Mr. Vincent? Tristan, not in a regular base, but I am familiar with the term with the truth will set you free. That's in the Bible, am I right? Carlos, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. But let's cut these citations before we sound like St. Paul and Aristotle. Time is precious. I like you, Mr. Vincent. I just don't want to be taken as a fool. It insults my intelligence. I don't like people fucking with my pride. In general, I don't trust Americans, except you. They are bad news. They just eradicated Ramirez's cartel here in Brazil, leaving the rest of us to doubt the durability of this business. We have to be very careful how we conduct this transition. They are rats everywhere. And the girl, whom you have been fucking like a bunny, could be a CIA informant. She is deceiving you, and playing all of us like dupes. I want you to take care of her personally if you want to establish any farther trust between you and me. Or there are people, who are engaged in contract killing. They will silence her. I'll leave it to you. Tristan is disappointed. That's all he needs to hear, putting Scarlett's life in danger. On the soundtrack, music plays softly. They continue to watch the game. EXT Resort, Day. Johnny sits at a table with a cup of coffee while looking at beautiful girls in a Brazil Vogue. He takes a sip and looks at his watch. It's time. He turns his eyes and sees Tristan, who is walking toward him. Tristan comes up to the table. Johnny puts the magazine aside. Johnny, have a seat. Tristan sits in front of Johnny. Johnny, do you want coffee or something? Tristan, no thanks. Johnny, okay. Let's get down to the business. We have to show in court that Carlos is distributing cocaine, so we are going to wire you. It's simple. You must get him to admit on the tape that he's selling cocaine. Tristan says nothing. Johnny, they will murder her. Don't gamble on her life. I know you love her. Just do it for her safety. We will protect her. You know, we can get rid of Carlos at this particular moment from Langley if we want to. But we will lose the war in drug. You see, Carlos has stashed over $50 billion in Swiss bank. He is one of the most successful drug dealers in the world. We don't want to kill him. We are just going to empty his account. You might have heard CIA use electric torturing method to steal money from drug dealers. We have to, because most of them are hard-headed. They think they are Tom Cruise. They leave us with no choice. But I know Carlos is rational. He thinks clear. He will cooperate with the government of USA. We are not going to hurt him. We will keep him at a safe house. He can see his wife and family as he pleases. It's not personal. It's only business. We use the money to run this operation, even fight terrorism. As matter of fact, we take terrorism seriously. We pour gas in their asses with hose and burn their entire intestines. However, that is a different topic. You know, there is a profit in everything. The trick is not to get too emotional. There is money to be made. The government of USA do not spend a penny if there is no revenue. They will get down dirty regardless of how bad things might turn out. The reason I am telling you this. You are a smart person. You might see some of the money in your bank account. On the soundtrack, music plays melodiously. Tristan and Johnny continue to talk without a sound. EXT Copacabana Beach, sunset. Scarlett and Justin take a walk through the friendly crowd. Fred and Tony, the same two hitmen who were shadowing Kevin earlier, are following Scarlett and Justin from a fair distance. Scarlett and Justin continue to walk. Fred and Tony take out their guns, silencers, and move closer to Scarlett and Justin. Then, out of nowhere a sniper shoots Fred in the neck and kills him. Again, out of nowhere appears a man named Bruce, CIA hitman, shoots Tony in the eye from close range, in a heartbeat. Tony hits the floor and dies at the spot. Bruce shoots Tony in the heart, turns his gun and shoots Fred in the chest twice, to make sure they are dead. It was done so fast. Scarlett and Justin don't know what's going on. They stop and look at Bruce. Meanwhile, 3 black SUVs come to the scene. The first one pulls next to Justin and Scarlett. The other 2 pulls next to dead bodies. Agent Logan and Agent Sam exit from first car and approach Scarlett and Justin. Agent Sam, Miss Hewitt, your life is in danger. You have to come with us. Justin, what's going on? Agent Logan, it's not safe. You have to get in the car. Agent Logan and Agent Sam escort Scarlett and Justin to the car. Logan opens the door. Scarlett and Justin get in the back seat. Meanwhile, in the background, we see the other agents placing dead bodies of Fred and Tony in the trunk of SUV 3. Agent Logan gets behind the wheel and Agent Sam walks around and gets in the passenger seat. They drive away. The citizens of Brazil watch everything in awe. They don't know what is going on. The other 2 cars follow the first sport utility vehicle. They all disappear from the screen as if nothing happened. The bystanders go to their ways. On the soundtrack, music plays melodiously. The camera pulls out with overhead shot and focus on a beautiful golden sunset, sparkling across the ocean. Int. Tristan's Rio Coffee, warehouse, day. Employees place bags of cocaine in the tons of coffee beans. Supervisors make sure the workers are doing their jobs right. Tristan and Carlos walk in the middle of the warehouse talking, but we don't hear what they are saying due to music on the soundtrack. 2 of Carlos's bodyguards make sure Carlos is safe. They are carrying machine guns. EXT Tristan's Rio Coffee, warehouse, day. We see more workers carrying a ton of coffee and loading it in the truck. Carlos's goons stand with machine guns, making sure things are going according to the plan. On the OTHE end, we see American Marine snipers, and USA Special Warfare competent craft crewmen, Navy SEALs, led by Benjamin Smith, Brazil Commandos, and Army Rangers led by General Jemerson Garcia hiding in the bushes, camouflaged with branches, and looking at the activity with binoculars from distance. Johnny is present as well. He is listening to the conversation between Carlos and Tristan. Benjamin gives his troops a sign to advance. 3 attack force unit, Navy SEALs, slowly crawl down toward the factory, covered with branches and leaf-clad netting, get up halfway, come behind 2 guards, who are standing with machine gun and guarding the area. SEAL 1 takes out a knife and slices the first guard's throat. SEAL 2 snaps guard 2's neck and kills him. SEAL 3 takes out a silencer, comes up to the loading area quietly, and kills 3 goons in a heartbeat. Simultaneously, 2 snipers fire and kill 2 goons who were about to shoot the SEALs. Then 3 men attack force unit shoot and kill 6 more guys, who were loading drugs in the track in a blink of an eye. Benjamin then gives General Jemerson a sign and tells his troops to move. They all get up, come out of the hide, and advance toward the warehouse. We see a couple of Carlos's goons coming from everywhere and firing at the three SEALs. The three SEALs fire back, killing more goons. Int. Tristan's Rio Coffee, warehouse, day. Both Tristan and Carlos turn their attention toward the chaos. Carlos, to his bodyguards in Portuguese, what's going on? His bodyguards come up to Carlos and begin to take him away. Tristan pulls out his gun, turns, and walks down the warehouse, a separate direction. At the entrance, the three Navy SEALs stand and begin to exchange fire with the goons who are firing like there is no tomorrow. On the other end, Carlos says something in Portuguese, takes a machine gun from one of his goons, and moves down the warehouse. EXT Rio Coffee warehouse, day. Johnny, Benjamin, USA Navy SEALs, General Jemerson and his commando and army rangers advance throughout the factory exchanging shots with Carlos's militaries. Then Johnny comes up to the warehouse, shooting his way, and joins the three Navy SEALs, who are exchanging fires with the goons at the entrance of the warehouse. Johnny to SEAL 1, David, who is second in command. I want Carlos alive. Don't shoot him. David, we'll do our best. Johnny, just don't kill him. He's worth more than the state of Delaware. Three more SEALs come up to the warehouse. David gives them a signal, puts a mask, and takes out a tear gas. They all put their mask. David throws a tear gas into the warehouse. SEAL 2 takes out another tear gas and throws the tear gas into the warehouse. Int. Rio Coffee, warehouse, day. The warehouse gets covered with smoke. The SEALs enter and begin to shoot, killing the bad guys. At the same time, Carlos tries to fire back at the troops. But he is having a difficulty of breathing and seeing clear. He moves down the warehouse coughing and shooting off target. At the other end, Tristan throws away his gun, takes off his coat, covers his nose, and sits on the stacks of coffee, hiding from a potential danger. Int. Rio Coffee, warehouse, day. The bad guys cease fire. They drop their guns and surrender. The SEALs make sure they all give in. David comes up to Carlos, who is on the ground, shot in the arm. David, freeze, you're under arrest. On the other end, Johnny walks up to Tristan, who is sitting on coffee. Tristan looks at him. Johnny takes out a cigarette and lights the cigarette. Johnny, I must say it was one hell of a ride. Tristan doesn't say anything. Johnny takes out a handcuff and cuffs him. Johnny, it is almost done. EXT, Tristan's Rio Coffee, warehouse, day. All the prisoners lie on the ground, their chest facing the dirt and their hands behind their heads. Two Brazil commandos and General Jemerson take Carlos and place him in a police car. On the other end, Johnny escorts Tristan to a CIA police car, and places him in the back seat. Johnny gets behind the wheel, starts the car, and drives away. Int. Interrogation, room, day. Tristan sits at a table. Two Secret Services men stand at the door. Johnny walks in with a file and sits in front of Tristan. Johnny, you have to finish what you started. We wanted you to testify against Carlos. We'll place you in a witness protection program. They will not find you. We will board your girlfriend first class and send her back to USA. Sign here. Tristan places his signature on the paper. Johnny, you have nothing to worry about. The situation will take care of itself. You shouldn't feel terrible under any circumstance. You did the right thing. Johnny takes out a cigarette and gives him the cigar. Tristan takes the cigarette and places it between his lips. Johnny lights the cigarette for him. Tristan takes a drag and exhales out the smoke. On the soundtrack, music plays melodiously. EXT Beach, restaurant, day. Johnny and Scarlett sit at the table, talking without a sound. Johnny then gives her a letter. The letter reads, "Move on with your life as if we had never met each other. Tristan." Scarlett looks at the paper with tears in her eyes. Johnny tells her everything will be fine. He gives her a new passport. She puts the letter on the table, dries her tears, and takes the passport. EXT airplane, flying, day. We see an airplane flying in the air. Int. Airplane, flying, day. Scarlett sits next to the window, looking through the glass. She seems lost in thought. Montage and flashback. On the soundtrack, The Girl from Ipanema by Astrid Gilberto featuring Frank Sinatra plays harmoniously. Note, 1. We see the following scenes music video style, or rather we would use various songs. 2. Most of the flashbacks are the result of Scarlett's thoughts as she reflects the past that she spent with Tristan. 3. We will make few changes during filming if it's necessary. Scarlett and Justin take a walk in the park holding hands in USA. Flashback. Scarlett and Tristan walk in the street of Rio, holding arm to arm. Miami Zoo, Scarlett and Justin look at the animals in the cages, a panther walking around the bar. Flashback. Scarlett and Tristan look at a couple of flamingos in big garden that has a pond at a resort in Rio. Miami, day. Scarlett and Justin sit at a cafe, outdoor sitting area, drinking coffee while talking without a sound. Flashback. Rio, sunset. Scarlett and Tristan sit at a cafe, gazing at each other eyes silently. Miami, night. Scarlett and Justin take a ride in a Ferris wheel at the amusement park. Flashback. Rio, night. Scarlett and Tristan take a walk on a bridge, talking and smiling in moonlight. Miami, night. Scarlett and Justin walk on the street talking without a sound. They then stop and kiss. They part their lips and continue to walk. Flashback. Rio, sunset. Scarlett takes the picture of Tristan by the statue of Christ the Redeemer in the sunset. He tries to take the camera from her hand playfully. She puts the camera away from his reach lightheartedly. They hold each other's arms and walk by the statue of Christ the Redeemer, smiling, and talking. She then stands in front of him, throws her arms around his neck, and kiss him. They kiss French in the twilight. Miami, department store, day. Scarlett comes out of the dressing room wearing a beautiful red gown. She shows the dress to Justin, who is standing next to the counter. He tells her it's beautiful. She then comes to the mirror and looks at herself in the mirror and sees Tristan standing behind her, phantom. Then, he is gone like a ghost. Scarlett looks at the mirror. She seems sad but forces a soft smile. Miami restaurant, night. Scarlett and Justin sit at a table with glasses of wines. Then out of nowhere, he produces a ring on his hand, goes down with one knee, and asks her to marry him. Scarlett accepts the proposal. He places the ring on her middle finger. Miami, wedding chapel. A small wedding is in progress. Justin stands at the chapel. There are about 30 guests, friends and families. Scarlett comes up to the chapel escorted by her stepfather James. Justin walks up to her and takes her hand. They stand in front of the priest. Scarlett looks lost. She wishes Tristan came and stopped the wedding. But everybody forever hold their peace. The priest marries them. Wedding reception. Scarlett and Justin dance slow. Yet it seems Scarlett missed Tristan. She looks vanished in her thoughts, feelings, heart, and soul. Miami, living room, night. Scarlett sits at the dinner table, typing on her laptop. She is working on her project in the middle of the night. There is a glass of scotch on the table. Flashback, Rio, day. We see Scarlett and Tristan taking a walk in the Paseo Publico Park. They stop next to a beautiful rose and kiss French. Back to Miami, Scarlett's living room. She stops typing, grabs her scotch, takes a sip, and puts down the glass. She then changes the interface of the screen and Googles Tristan Vincent. The computer lists all Tristan Vincent. Scarlett clicks one that has something to do with exporting coffee. She writes down his address and phone number on a scrub paper. Simultaneously, Justin walks into the living room, wearing a nightgown. Scarlett looks at him. He says something cheering. She says something nice. He comes behind her and begins to give her a shoulder massage. They talk without a sound. We don't hear what they are saying due to the music on the soundtrack. Scarlett and Justin exchange soft kisses. He then walks to the bar and pours a scotch for himself. Scarlett puts the paper that has Tristan's number in her pocket dexterously. Justin sits at the table next to her. They resume talking without a sound. Miami, coffee shop, day. Scarlett sits at the table outside sitting area, working on her project with her laptop while drinking a cup of Brazil coffee. Flashback. Rio, day. We see Tristan giving Scarlett a tour at his coffee plantation, showing her a coffee plant and the bright fresh red beans. They walk in the middle of Tristan coffee plantation, talking. They then stand lips to lips, talk between soft kisses, and kiss intimately. Back to Miami, Scarlett at the coffee shop. She grabs her coffee, has a sip, then takes her cell phone from the table, dials the number that she wrote on the scrub paper, and waits for answer without a success. Miami, graduation ceremony, day. Scarlett gets her master degree. She comes to the stage, shakes the hands of her professors, takes her degree, and walks toward the direction of the camera. Int. Amber Erotic Resort, night. We are at an erotic resort where they serve foods on naked girls. It's one of its kind, owned by Amber Heard the actress. We see muscular men carrying naked girls that have all kinds of foods on their bodies and placing them in front of customers. There are girls who are dancing inside cages naked. But they are not the main attraction, used in the background to give the place glamour. The real show is on the stage. A beautiful girl named Miley strips on the stage with closer by 9-inch nails erotically, tied up in S&M and bandage. It's explicit. We have never seen anything like this in real life. Scarlett and Justin sit at the table with glasses of wines, enjoying their outings. As a matter of fact, they are waiting for their meal, while conversing. But we don't hear what they are saying due to Closer by 9-inch nails, which is playing on the soundtrack as well. Yet Scarlett can't take her eyes from Miley, who is dancing erotic as if she were crucified on the cross in her soul and left to die naked while bleeding emotionally. She makes Madonna a virgin, touching herself sexually in eroticism. All eyes are on her, and Miley can feel it, scorching her sense of presence, as she continues to get lost in the spotlight. It doesn't look like a striptease. It's a sex show. Scarlett wonders what makes a girl dance like this. Is it love or just an act? She thinks it must be love. Then 4 muscular guys come from the kitchen carrying a naked girl that has all kinds of seafoods on her body, move down the club, and places the meal in front of Scarlett and Justin. Scarlett seems not sure if she wants to eat food on a naked human anatomy. It's not because of it is wrong. However, she has never done it before. Yet, they said, there is always first time for everything. She grabs a shrimp from the girl's belly and eats it in ease. Meanwhile, Justin doesn't hesitate a beat. He built the place after all, must have come there several times, grabs a lobster from the girl's solar plexus and eats it naturally. Miley finishes dancing. Some young customers give her a round of applause, clenching their spoons and forks and knives while making noise. Scarlett can't help but clap with her hands. She then sees a man who looks like Tristan sitting with a beautiful girl. For seconds, she thought it was him. But he is completely a different person. It's her heart playing tricks on her. On the stage, comes the owner. Amber Heard herself, wearing S&M and tied up with chains, begins to strip in sensuality with These Eyes by The Guess Who mixed with solo guitar, Comfortably Numb by David Gilmour, Pink Floyd. She just gets down X-rated, putting the chain between her legs and rubbing her vagina with the steel while dancing in eroticism, as if she were possessed by sex demons. Everybody stops eating and begins to watch her in wonder. They are taken by her performance. Then come 4 supporting casts, 3 muscular men and a female, and begin to touch her in sexuality while strangulating her with the chains and making out with French kisses in a well-scripted act. Yet they stand aside and let Amber dance freely. She is the star of the show and doesn't let herself down, dancing XXX as if she lost her mind, heart, and soul, touching herself in sexuality. It's a figure of speech. But she gets down like Aphrodite on fire. However, Scarlett seems missing in her soul. She still thinks that man is Tristan. She has what people, who are deeply in love, would call it, out-body experience. Somehow, she finds herself on the stage, stripping for Tristan. In the meantime, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven plays soulfully. Scarlett continues to dance, removing her cloth one by one in sensuality. She completely removes her clothes, except her underwear, and dances in eroticism, touching herself. It's extremely sensual. We think Amber got us by the heart, but Scarlett takes it to the next level, dancing as if her soul were put on fire, and her heart placed in scotch on the rocks, but somehow, she is immune to it. She is sweltering inside, turns that passion into the art of seduction, moving her body with tenderness, fervent desire, lust, and longing, and leaves us breathless. The audiences are speechless. Tristan too, who has been making out with his girlfriends with Kiss, turns his focus on Scarlett, despite the fact his girlfriend is all over him, touching his private part and kissing his ear. Then the 4 supporting casts approach Scarlett with chains and begin to touch her in sexuality while strangling her playfully in well-scripted performance. It looks dangerous and sadistic, at the same time, it's erotic, seductive, and inviting. Scarlett disappears in her character, she lies on the floor, the female dancer kisses her French. Simultaneously, the first 2 male dancers spread her legs with chains. The third male dancer pours whiskey in her vagina and gives her oral pleasure while she is still wearing underwear. Scarlett breathes in and out deeply with sexual pleasure, reaching sweet orgasm. Then Whole Lotta of Love by Led Zeppelin plays with full volume, replacing Stairway to Heaven. Scarlett breaks free and begins to dance energetically, touching herself in temptation and craving. It's 2 different acts. She is filled with vigor and oomph, taking control of her heart, moving her body with authority, enticement, whole lot of love, and tenderness injected with fever. Scarlett is sweating as if she poured a bucket of water on herself like Jennifer Beals in Flashdance. However, it is her heart that is melting. She doesn't hold anything. She is after the missing piece to the puzzle of her heart, gives 110%. She wants that feeling of intoxicating love back. It feels so sweet, torturing, alluring, and addictive. Tristan too is stunned by her performance. They all are thunderstruck. The DJ plays Stairway to Heaven solo guitar by Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin. Scarlett removes her underwear and goes down with her knees, and stimulates her clitoris with her fingers vigorously like a nymphomaniac. Her body then trickles from her head to her toes. Scarlett bends backward as she reaches deep intense orgasm, closes her eyes with love, exhaustion, orgasm, and passion. The screen fades to black. Note: it will be scripted well during filming, depend on how far the actress is willing to take the performance. EXT Rio de Janeiro, beach, day. Superimpose, 2 years later. Scarlett sits on the sand looking at the ocean. On the soundtrack, Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer plays softly. Then out of nowhere comes Tristan and stands next to her, holding a red rose. She looks at him in surprise and gives him a soft beautiful smile. Tristan, hola. Scarlett, hi. Pause. Tristan, may I sit? Scarlett taps the sand. Tristan sits next to her, holding the rose in the air. There is a silent moment. They look at the ocean. On the soundtrack, Kiss Me continues to play melodiously. Tristan, how are you? Scarlett, I'm fine, and you? Tristan, I am okay. Scarlett, I missed you. Tristan, I missed you too. There is a pause. Tristan, it's good to see you. Scarlett, a lot of water under the bridge. Tristan says nothing. There is a silent moment. Tristan, what are you doing here? Scarlett, vacation. I got my MA this spring. Tristan, congratulations. Scarlett, thanks. Long pause. It seems they are listening to the song, Kiss Me. Tristan looks at her finger. She is wearing a wedding ring. He then. Tristan, when did you get married? Scarlett, a year ago. I thought I would forget you by getting married, and focus on my career, but it's not easy to forget a man that holds a special place in your heart. I lost touch with reality. Tristan, I'm sorry. Scarlett, it's okay. Heart has its own ways of dealing with pain, but feeling sorry for yourself and getting married can only help you putting things in perspective. Till you ask yourself why you're in this confusing world. Your heart then tells you that you're here for a reason that you don't know and you never will. He doesn't say anything. Scarlett, anyway, how did you find me? Tristan, I always come here, thinking you might show up one day. Scarlett, why didn't you call, or write me a letter? Tristan, I couldn't. I'm under witness protection program. I was supposed to be in Barcelona hiding under an assumed name. Scarlett, it's not fair. You could have told me in person that you'd be under a witness protection program instead of sending someone to give me a letter that says to move on with my life as if we had never met each other. Tristan, I didn't mean it like that. Forgive me. I thought I was protecting you by not being around. You know, you had a future ahead of you. I was as good as dead if those drug cartels saw me walking on the street. I didn't want to put your life at risk. Long pause. Scarlett, so, what do you want from me? I'm married. He says nothing. There is a silent moment. We continue to hear Kiss Me on the soundtrack. It then falls in the background and fades away. She then. Scarlett, tell me the truth. Pause. They get closer lips to lips. He then. Tristan, it might sound like a confession but there's not a day that has gone by without thinking about you. Sometimes, I wonder if I am sane, and say to myself I will just take the blame. Each day I wake up in the morning, and hear my heart beating like a helpless living creature, perhaps a deer whose neck got caught in a jaw of a predator that is deceivingly kept tame, and it is about to be slain without a name. Or rather a saint that is tortured in Spanish Inquisition tied with a chain while his heart sets on flame, because he falls in love with a girl who dances flamenco as if she were stabbed in the heart with a knife that has more than its 15 minutes of ill fame. And at the same time, blood were shooting out of her vein without a shame. He then finds out love is nothing but a game that a heart plays with fire in order to lose its soul to a beautiful dame. Or maybe, I am insane. You are millions of times more addictive than cocaine. Just the thought of you makes me want to sing, shout, and dance in the rain. Till I am left on the cross to die in front of billions and the citizens of Spain. There is so much pain. My heart screams like a martyr that has arrows in his soul, and nails in his brain. I swear there's nothing I wouldn't do to get up and see your eyes again. They kiss intimately. She then parts her lips. Scarlett, I want you to know my life means nothing without you. They kiss more passionately. She puts her arms around him, inclines backward and falls on the sand with Tristan, joining lips to lips. On the soundtrack music plays melodiously. They kiss alluringly. She then parts her lips, push him just a little bit, rolls with him, get on top, and kisses him French. Close up, Tristan and Scarlett. They kiss more intimately as if their lips and tongues were made from each other's hearts and souls mixed with sugar, fire, and water. The end.